The first thing I noticed was Colin's coffee mug in the sink. He hated leaving dishes overnight. He once got out of bed at 1 in the morning because he remembered a cereal bowl beside the couch. But there was his blue mug, half full, a pale ring of cold coffee clinging to the inside. The second thing I noticed was the empty space beside the front door where his shoes should have been. Upstairs, his side of the closet looked as if somebody had taken one clean bite out of it. His gray suitcase was gone. So were his laptop, his shaving kit, and the leather folder where he kept our passports. When I called, he answered with, "Did you send me that text?" "What text?" There was a long silence. Then my phone buzzed against my ear. Colin had sent me a screenshot of a message from my number. I can't keep doing this. I chose my family, and I'm done pretending I'll choose you. Take what you need and be gone before I get home. Underneath it was another. Don't call me, don't make this uglier. I read both messages twice before my knees remembered how to bend. Colin, I said, sitting on the edge of our bed. I didn't send those. He breathed out, but it wasn't relief. It was the sound a person makes when the answer they were afraid of has only become more complicated. Where are you? I asked. At Grant's. Come home. I don't think I should. My hand tightened around the phone. You don't think you should come home after I just told you somebody sent you a breakup text pretending to be me? I don't know what you just told me, Elise. That hurt worse than the empty closet. 9 hours earlier, Colin had been standing in my parents' kitchen, cutting 4 turkey sandwiches into triangles because my mother believed diagonal bread tasted better. She had never said that directly. She had simply rejected square sandwiches for 30 years, until all of us adapted. You know we're adults, right? Colin asked as he arranged the triangles on a paper plate. My mother looked up from the drawer she was emptying. Adults can choke. On corners? Dennis choked on a pork chop in 2009. From the dining room, my father called. I coughed. You turned purple. I was wearing a purple shirt. Colin looked at me. Your parents' marriage is my favorite court case. Normally, I would have laughed. I almost did. Then Paige came in through the back door carrying 3 empty cardboard boxes and wearing 1 white sneaker and 1 pink plastic sandal. What happened to you? I asked. My phone died a violent death. She held up the remains. The screen was shattered, and the pink sandal belonged to my mother. I dropped it getting out of the car, then stepped on it trying to pick it up. With enough force to break your shoe? Colin asked. The shoe was already emotionally unstable. Paige could make incompetence sound like an adventure. It was one of her real gifts. She was 33, 4 years younger than me, with a messy blonde knot on top of her head and the kind of face that convinced strangers to hold doors from unreasonable distances. Mom rushed over as if Paige were bleeding. Oh, honey, it's fine. I can't access my email, my banking app, the moving company portal, or the name of the man I'm supposed to meet tonight. But spiritually, I'm free. You're meeting a man tonight? Mom asked. That was the least important item on that list. Is it repairable? I said. Paige handed me the phone. A bright green line flickered down the center of the black screen. Colin leaned over my shoulder. Depends. Does it need to function as a phone? Mom was already opening cabinets. I have something you can use temporarily. Paige dropped into a chair and took half a sandwich. You have an extra phone? I have things. That was true. Marlene Mercer had enough obsolete electronics to open a museum no one would visit. Chargers for devices we hadn't owned since the first Obama administration filled a basket beneath the junk drawer. I gave Paige's broken phone back and carried flattened boxes toward the living room. The house looked less like my childhood every day. The family photographs were down, leaving pale rectangles on the walls. Blue painter's tape marked the furniture going to the condo. Pink tape meant donation, although Mom had moved the pink tape off the dining room hutch 3 times. My father sat in his recliner with a heating pad behind his back, supervising a stack of old magazines. Elise, he said, holding up a 1998 issue of National Geographic. This might be worth something. It's about volcanoes. Volcanoes remain popular. Then keep it. I'm trying to downsize, then recycle it. He stared at the magazine. Let's make a maybe pile. The maybe pile had taken over half the room. I heard Paige laugh in the kitchen. Mom laughed too, then lowered her voice. A drawer closed. Colin came beside me carrying the sandwich plate. Triangle? I'm not allowed sharp edges. You've had a long day. It wasn't even noon. We had planned to spend 2 hours there. The furniture buyer was coming at 5 to look at the hutch, so I would have to return later. Between those two obligations, I needed to review the condo inventory, call the moving company, and remind Dad that a heating pad was not a medical treatment plan. Paige was supposed to manage the moving company. She had volunteered at dinner 2 weeks earlier, raising her wine glass and announcing, "Give me one important job so Elise can stop staring at me like a disappointed regional manager." She had yet to return their first call. Colin touched the back of my arm. "Can we tell them today?" I knew what he meant. He had received the Denver offer 6 days earlier. It was good money, work he actually wanted, and a relocation package generous enough that we wouldn't have to wrap our plates in his old t-shirts. We had talked about it each night, carefully at first, then with the giddy terror of people allowing themselves to picture another life. I had said yes in our kitchen at 11:43 the night before. The word had felt wonderful until I woke up. After the move, I said. Elise, not after we move, after their move. It's less than 3 weeks, and then it'll be the condo association paperwork, then your dad's follow-up, then your mom will decide the bathroom grout is hostile. It is a strange color. It's beige. She thinks it has green intentions. He didn't smile. From the kitchen, Mom called, "Elise, did you print the utility transfer forms?" "In the red folder. I don't see them." "The red folder on the counter. I'm looking at it. Open it." A pause. "Oh?" Colin closed his eyes. "I know," I whispered. "That's becoming your whole answer. What do you want me to say? I want you to tell them we're leaving. We haven't signed anything. Because you said you wanted to tell them first, and I do." "Then tell them." There was no anger in his voice. That made me defensive faster than anger would have. Paige appeared in the doorway, chewing. "Tell us what?" I looked at Colin. He gave one small nod. "Colin got an offer in Denver," I said. "We're taking it." Paige stopped chewing. Dad lowered his Volcano magazine. Mom came in holding the red folder against her chest. "Taking what?" "The job," Colin said. "We'd move near the end of next month." Mom looked at me. "Not him." "You're moving to Colorado?" "That's where Denver is," Paige said faintly. "When did this happen?" Mom asked. "The offer came last week. And you've already decided?" I heard the accusation in already. Colin heard it too. "We've been talking about making a change," I said. "This is a good opportunity. For him. For both of us." "What will you do there?" Paige asked. "The same work I do here. Mostly remote. So you can work anywhere." Colin's jaw shifted. I said, "Yes. That's part of why it makes sense." Mom set the folder down very carefully. "Your father and I are in the middle of a major transition. I know. We won't leave until after you're settled." "Settled?" Mom repeated, as if I had proposed dropping them at a bus station with matching pillowcases. Dad cleared his throat. "Denver has weather." "So does Ohio," Colin said. "More of it in Denver." Paige folded her arms. "Did you even want this before Colin got the offer?" "Paige," I said. "It's a normal question." "No, it isn't." She glanced at him. "You've wanted her farther away for years." Colin gave a short laugh. "I've wanted to eat one uninterrupted dinner with my wife." Mom's face tightened. "We don't interrupt your dinners." She had called during our anniversary meal because Dad couldn't find the remote. I stepped between the conversation and the cliff it was approaching. "Nobody is taking me anywhere. I agreed to this." "You agree to things when you're exhausted," Paige said. "That's an interesting argument from someone who once bought a kayak at a gas station. It was displayed outside a gas station. I purchased it from the sporting goods store next door. You don't kayak. That isn't the point." "No," Colin said. "I think it might be." Mom touched Paige's shoulder, a quiet signal that said Colin was being unkind and Paige had permission to feel wounded. I knew that signal. I had spent my life watching it. Paige pushed away from the doorway. Fine. Go to Denver. I'm sure Mom and Dad will just handle everything themselves. I have handled almost everything myself, I said. The words came out before I could soften them. Paige stared at me. Mom said, "That's not fair." Colin looked down, but I saw the grim little satisfaction at the corner of his mouth. That made me angry at him, which was easier than staying angry at them. I grabbed my purse. I have to go home and finish some work. I'll come back before the furniture buyer gets here. You're still coming back? Mom asked, surprised. Of course I am. Colin followed me outside. At the car, he said, Of course you are. Don't. You just told them we're moving, and within 60 seconds you reassured them nothing would change. I said I'd meet a furniture buyer. You always make it sound small, because sometimes it is small. It's 100 small things, Elise. I opened the driver's door. I'm not doing this in the driveway. That's where we do everything. In driveways, in hallways, in the car, anywhere your family can't hear. I looked back at the house. Paige stood behind the kitchen window. When she saw me notice her, she disappeared. Colin and I drove home separately. We did not speak before I returned to my parents' house at 5, and the furniture buyer kept me waiting until after 8 before sending a cheerful message that said he had gone another direction. By the time I came home to the empty closet, the argument in the driveway had become evidence against me. Now, sitting alone on our bed, I told Colin every detail of my evening, as if listing lamps and cardboard boxes could establish innocence. He listened. Then he said, "The message came from you." "No, it came from my number." I called that number Elise. "Somebody rejected me twice." I pulled the phone away from my face and checked my recent calls. Nothing from him. "Colin, I swear to you, I want to believe you." Wanting was not believing. After we hung up, I called Mom. It was almost 10, but she answered immediately. "Elise, is something wrong? Is Paige there?" "No." "Why?" "Do you know how to reach her?" "Her phone is broken, remember?" I stood in the middle of our bedroom, looking at the space where my husband's clothes had been. "What did you give her today?" Mom went quiet. "Mom? I don't know what you mean. You said you had something Paige could use." "Oh, that, just an old phone." "What old phone?" Another pause, smaller this time. "Elise, it's late. Can this wait until morning?" I didn't sleep. At 7:15, I drove to my parents' house wearing yesterday's jeans. Paige's car was already there. She opened the front door before I knocked, her eyes puffy and her hair loose around her shoulders. "Elise," she said too gently. Something buzzed in her hand. She tried to slide it behind her leg, but I had already seen the faded green case. My faded green case, the one I had last seen wrapped around my old phone. "Give it to me." Paige curled her fingers around the phone. "Mom gave it to me." That wasn't my question. I needed something until mine gets fixed. "Give me the phone." Mom appeared behind her in a blue bathrobe, tying the belt as she came down the hall. "What is all this noise? Did you give Paige my old phone?" She blinked at me. "You gave it to me. To borrow. I asked you to wipe it when you were done." "I thought you had." "You thought I had wiped the phone I gave you because it wasn't wiped?" Mom pressed her lips together. She hated questions shaped like traps, even when the trap was basic chronology. Paige tried to move past me. I blocked the doorway. "Unlock it." "Elise, you're being intense. My husband left me last night because somebody used that phone to tell him our marriage was over." Mom's hand stopped on the knot of her robe. Paige did not look surprised. It happened fast, that realization. Not like a light turning on. More like an elevator dropping half a floor. "You knew," I said. "No. You knew he left. I didn't know he actually left. He actually sat between us." Mom whispered, "Paige." Paige's face changed. Her mouth opened, then closed, and the confidence drained out of her so quickly that for one disorienting second, she looked much younger. Not young, just stripped of the expression she usually reached for. I held out my hand. She gave me the phone. The case was soft at the corners from the year I had carried it. There was still a tiny crescent-shaped scratch near the camera from when I dropped it on our patio. I pressed the side button. The lock screen showed a photograph of Paige and me at Mom's birthday dinner 2 years earlier. Paige had her chin on my shoulder. I was laughing at something outside the frame. "Passcode," I said. "It's Mom's birthday." "Which one?" Mom looked offended. "I have one birthday." "You use 3 different years, 1965. The phone opened. My old apps were arranged exactly where I had left them. Weather, calendar, notes. A shopping list from last Christmas still sat in the reminders widget. At the top of the screen, beside the battery symbol, the phone showed that it was connected to my parents' Wi-Fi. I opened the message app. The thread with Colin was at the top, but the 2 breakup messages were gone. So was the message he had apparently sent before them. "You deleted them," I said. Paige folded her arms. "I didn't want to keep looking at them. You didn't want to keep looking at what you did." "Could we sit down?" Mom asked. "This is not a doorway conversation." Nobody moved. I went into the phone settings. My account name was still there. My old number appeared beneath it. Mom leaned closer. "I don't understand these things. You didn't need to understand it. You needed to ask me." "I needed a temporary phone," Paige said. "You needed to send my husband a breakup text? I didn't plan it. Did your thumb fall on 27 letters? It happened really fast. So does vomiting. Usually, you still know you did it." Dad appeared at the end of the hall in gray sweatpants and one black sock. "Why is everyone here?" Mom turned to him. "Go have your coffee, Dennis. It's my hallway. Please." He looked from her to Paige, then to me. "Is this about Denver?" "No," Mom said. "Yes," Paige said. "It's about my marriage," I said. Dad scratched the side of his face. "That seems worse." He went to the kitchen without asking another question, which was my father's most consistent survival skill. I opened the deleted message folder. Paige reached for the phone. "Don't. Elise. There are private things on there. It's my phone, signed into my account containing messages you sent as me. Name one thing on it that's private to you." Her cheeks flushed. The deleted thread restored with 2 taps. The first message had come from Colin at 1:18 the previous afternoon, after he and I left separately. "We can't keep having the same fight. I need to know whether you're really coming with me or whether you just said yes because you didn't want to lose me." My stomach turned. I remembered seeing a notification while I was driving home, but when I checked at a red light, it was gone. I had assumed I imagined the vibration. At 1:26, my number had replied, "I can't keep doing this. I chose my family and I'm done pretending I'll choose you. Take what you need and be gone before I get home." Colin had called 4 times. Each call lasted 1 second. Rejected. Then the second message. "Don't call me. Don't make this uglier." He had responded at 1:42. Okay, that was all. Not anger, not begging, not even a question. Okay. I looked at Paige. "You watched him call." I panicked. 4 separate times? I didn't know what to do. You could have done nothing. Nothing was sitting right there, Paige. You had to climb over it to do this. Mom reached for my elbow. I stepped away. "Let her explain," she said. "Explain what? The punctuation? Why she was upset?" I laughed and the sound came out wrong. Paige's eyes filled. "You both stood outside talking about me. We were talking about us. You looked right at the window. Because you were standing in it. Colin was angry that you were helping us. He was angry that I always help you. That's the same thing." "No, it isn't. It feels the same when you're the person everybody wants her to abandon." Mom took Paige's hand. The movement was automatic. Paige did not even have to reach. I stared at their joined fingers. "You sent the message because you thought I was abandoning you?" I wanted him to back off. By ending my marriage? I didn't think he would leave. "You told him to leave. I thought he'd call. I thought he'd come over, or wait, or try to talk to you in person. Normal people don't pack a suitcase because of 2 texts. There it was. The first place she could put the blame that wasn't herself. Mom seized it immediately. "I admit," she said carefully, "it does seem strange that Colin didn't verify it with you. He called 4 times. She rejected him. But after that, he could have waited." "For what, Mom? A notarized breakup? I'm saying marriages don't usually end over a misunderstanding." "Then what was Paige trying to make happen?" Silence. Dad came back carrying 3 mugs, one of them with a tea bag string hanging over the side. He set the tea on a narrow table beside me. "I put honey in it," he said. "I don't take honey. You did when you had bronchitis. That was 9 years ago. You liked it." I couldn't taste anything. He nodded as though that explained why he had remembered it fondly. Paige wiped beneath her eyes. "I saw his message come in. I knew he was pressuring you. You read our messages. It opened to your thread. You still had to read it. It was on the screen. The first line was on the screen. I wanted to understand what was going on. So you went through my marriage like it was a purse you thought might have gum in it. Stop making everything I say sound stupid." "I'm not doing that." Mom lifted a hand. "Enough." "No, not enough." I turned the phone toward Paige. "How did you know what to write? What do you mean? I never told you about that argument, the one about choosing between Colin and the family." She looked at the floor. I scrolled upward. Months of messages were still synced to the old phone. Grocery reminders, photos, jokes that made no sense outside our marriage. Underneath those were harder conversations, including one from February after Mom called during our anniversary dinner. "I'm tired of feeling like marriage means choosing between you and my family." The sentence was mine. Paige had changed a few words, sharpened it, and put it back in Colin's hand. "How far did you scroll?" "I don't know." "You don't know whether you read 6 months of my private messages?" "I wasn't counting," Mom said. She was emotional. "I am going to throw something if you say that again." Mom's expression hardened. "You will not threaten me in my house." "I'm not threatening you. I'm describing where we are." Dad quietly moved a ceramic bird farther down the table. Paige sank onto the bottom stair. "I'm sorry." It was the first clean thing she had said, and for a second it reached me. Then she added, "But you should see how Colin talks about us." The clean thing vanished. I handed the phone to Mom. "This should never have been here." She took it against her chest. "I didn't know she would do this." "But you knew it was mine. You weren't using it. I wasn't using my wedding dress either. Would you have given her that? Don't be ridiculous. Why? Because that belongs to me?" Mom looked wounded, which was a role she could assume without preparation. "I was helping your sister." "You always say that as if helping Paige erases what it costs me." Paige stood. "I said I was sorry. You're sorry he left. You're not sorry you wanted to hurt him." "I did not want to hurt him." "What did you think a breakup message would feel like?" She had no answer. My phone rang in my pocket. I grabbed it so fast I nearly dropped it. It was the moving company. I stared at the screen while it buzzed. Mom said, "Can you get that? They're confirming the elevator window." The absurdity of it was so complete I almost answered from habit. Instead, I declined the call. All 3 of them looked at me. Mom said, "Why did you do that?" "Because I'm not discussing your elevator right now. It will take 30 seconds. My husband thinks I ended our marriage. And Paige has apologized. I can hear you saying those words, but they don't go together." Dad lifted his mug. "I can call the movers." Mom glanced at him. "You don't know the reservation number. I can learn it." That surprised all of us, including him. I took my old phone from Mom and put it in my purse. "Where are you going?" Paige asked. "To talk to Colin. Are you going to tell him?" I looked at her. She hugged her arms tighter. "I mean everything?" "No, Paige. I thought I'd protect you from the consequences of your choices. It's worked so well until now. Grant lived 20 minutes away in a brick apartment building beside a dry cleaner. Colin's car was in the lot. He came downstairs after I texted, but he didn't invite me up. He wore the same clothes he had worn at my parents' house, only wrinkled now. The sight of him made my throat close. "It was Paige," I said. "My mother gave her my old phone. She read our messages and sent those texts." Colin shut his eyes. I brought the phone. "You can see everything. I believe you." The relief hit so hard I took a step toward him. He stepped back. "I believe you didn't send it," he said. "But Paige sent one message. Elise. 2. You know what I mean." "No, I don't." She sent the text. He looked at me with exhausted, reddened eyes. She didn't make me pack. I stared at him. What is that supposed to mean? It means I saw the message, and some part of me believed it. For 3 hours? For 5 minutes? Then I started packing. Then you didn't come home. I was waiting for a man who never showed up to buy my mother's hutch. I know that now. You knew I was going back there. You also said you'd only be there for an hour. That doesn't make the text real. No. It made the text sound like something you might have sent after sitting in that house, getting worked up about leaving. Getting worked up? You were scared to tell them. Then we told them, and they reacted exactly the way you knew they would. I pushed you in the driveway. You were angry at me. So you decided I ended our marriage? I decided I didn't know. My voice rose. You could have driven over there. I almost did, but you didn't. No. Why? He rubbed both hands over his face. Because I was tired of chasing you into your family. A woman pushing a small laundry cart came out of the building. She slowed when she saw us standing near the entrance, then performed an elaborate detour around a decorative shrub. One of her towels fell out. Neither of us helped. I lowered my voice. I never asked you to chase me. That's the problem. What does that mean? You don't ask, you just go. Your mother calls, and you're putting on shoes before she finishes the sentence. I'm supposed to follow or be the jerk who stayed home. That's not fair. I know it isn't fair. He said it so quickly that I stopped. Colin looked toward his car. Packing was stupid. I can admit that. I should have waited or driven to the house or called from Grant's phone. I did the worst possible version of believing you. Then come home. I'm not ready. Why not? Because finding out Paige sent it doesn't erase why I believed it. I crossed my arms against the cold. I had left home without a coat and the morning air had teeth. What do you want me to say, Colin? I don't know. You keep telling me what I'm doing wrong, but you don't know what would make it right. I'm not asking you to make it right in a parking lot. You packed in an afternoon. I know. You took our passports. He glanced at me. They were in the folder with my professional certificates. You took both passports. I wasn't fleeing the country. You took mine. I took the whole folder, Elise. It wasn't symbolic. It felt symbolic when I found the empty shelf. Everything felt symbolic last night. The door behind him opened again. Grant came out in plaid pajama pants, carrying a travel mug and Colin's phone charger. You forgot this, he said. Colin took it. Thanks. Grant looked at me. He was Colin's older brother by 18 months and had the unnerving ability to appear freshly showered, even when his hair was standing straight up. Hi, Elise. Hi, I'm going to work. You're wearing pajama pants, Colin said. I own the company. Grant owned half of a small flooring business. The other half belonged to a woman named Sheila who, according to Colin, did all the work and reminded Grant of that in writing. Grant jingled his keys. I'm wearing confidence. He looked between us, and the humor left his face. You can stay as long as you need, he told Colin. Then he touched my shoulder as he passed. Both of you eat something. It was such an older brother sentence that I almost cried. Colin waited until Grant drove away. I need a couple of days, he said. A couple? Through the weekend. It was Thursday. What am I supposed to tell people? His eyebrows lifted. I heard it as soon as I said it. I don't mean my family. Who else is asking? No one. Then don't tell anyone. I already told my family. That Paige sent the text. I confronted her. And your mother asked me to answer the moving company. He laughed once with no amusement. Of course she did. I didn't answer. Good. The word irritated me. I don't need a gold star. I didn't say you did. You sounded like a therapist congratulating me for using the stairs. I said good. I declined one call. I didn't dismantle the United Nations. His mouth twitched despite himself, then flattened. I'll call you tonight, he said. Will you? Yes. From your own phone? That seems safest. He reached for me, stopped, and put his hand in his pocket instead. That unfinished movement stayed with me all the way home. The blue mug was still in the sink. I poured out the coffee and washed it. Then I washed the clean plate beside it, wiped the counter, reorganized the dish towels, and stood with both hands gripping the edge of the sink because none of those things had changed the shape of the house. My old phone lay on the kitchen table inside the faded green case. I signed it out of my account, changed every password I could think of, and removed it from the list of trusted devices. Each step produced a bright little confirmation message, as if security were the same thing as safety. Before I erased it, I opened the conversation with Colin. There were years inside it. Pictures of terrible hotel art, reminders to buy toothpaste, a 6-message debate about whether a tomato was too soft to use. The first time Mom interrupted our anniversary dinner, I had texted Colin from the restaurant bathroom. I'm sorry, she sounded upset. He had replied, she couldn't find the TV remote. I know, come back to the table. I will. I just need to calm her down. 5 minutes later, he wrote, your food is getting cold. I kept scrolling. A Sunday morning when Paige needed help retrieving her car from a bar across town. A weekend cabin reservation we canceled because Dad's back went out for the first time. The night Mom insisted she heard something in the attic and Colin drove over with a flashlight, only to find a pine cone rolling in the gutter. After that one, he had sent me a photograph of himself holding the pine cone. Your brother, he wrote. I laughed aloud in the empty kitchen. Then I reached February. The messages Paige had read were worse in context. I'm tired of feeling like marriage means choosing between you and my family. Colin had written, I'm tired of being the only person you think can survive not being chosen. I had not answered for 43 minutes. When I did, I said, that's not what I'm doing. He replied, then tell me what you're doing. The conversation ended there. I didn't remember where I had gone for those 43 minutes. Maybe nowhere. Maybe I had sat on the edge of the bathtub, furious that he could reduce my whole family to a demand. The doorbell rang. I looked through the front window and saw Paige standing on the porch with a foil-covered casserole dish. I opened the door but did not move aside. You're kidding. It's baked ziti. You almost ended my marriage. I didn't know what else to bring. An explanation? I gave you one. You gave me several. They contradicted each other. She shifted the casserole to her other hand. Can I come in? No. Elise, it's cold. You drove here. That doesn't make it warm. I stared at her. She sighed. I want to apologize to Colin. He isn't here. Her gaze moved over my shoulder. Where is he? Grant's. So he still hasn't come back? The surprise in her voice scraped against me. No, but you told him it was me. Yes. And he still won't come home? I started closing the door. Paige put one hand against it. Wait, I'm not trying to make it worse. You have a gift. I'm worried about you. You were worried about me yesterday, too. That isn't fair. You keep saying that whenever something is exactly fair. She pulled her hand back. Mom's upset. Mom will recover. Dad's appointment is this afternoon and she can't drive him because she has the condo walkthrough. There it was, buried beneath pasta. Paige, take him. I have to get my phone repaired, move the appointment. They said it could take hours, then leave it broken. I need it for work. So did you come to apologize, or did you come because Mom needs a driver? Both things can be true. That sounded reasonable enough to be dangerous. She held the casserole toward me. Please take this. I don't want baked ziti. You love baked ziti. I don't want betrayal ziti. A laugh escaped her before she could stop it. It was small and familiar, and my own mouth nearly answered. That was the worst part. I could still see my sister inside the person who had done this. Paige had slept on my couch after bad breakups. She had once driven 6 hours through a snowstorm when I had surgery, arriving with 3 pairs of socks and no toothbrush. She knew which songs I skipped when I was sad. She also knew exactly where my marriage was weakest because she had gone looking. Her face crumpled. "I really didn't think he'd leave," she said. "That doesn't make me feel better. It should. I wasn't trying to end things permanently. What amount of ending them felt acceptable?" She looked down at the foil. "I wanted him to be scared. Why? Because he was taking you. I'm not a lamp. You know what I mean. I know what you said." She raised her eyes. "When you told us about Denver, you looked at him before every answer. I looked at my husband while discussing our move. You were checking what you were allowed to say. No, I was checking whether he still believed me." Paige went still. I had not meant to tell her that. I had barely meant to tell myself. She swallowed. "Mom says you agreed because you're afraid he'll leave. Mom says whatever makes my choices somebody else's fault. That's not true. Take Dad to his appointment. I told you, my phone—" "Your phone is not a dependent adult. It can sit in a repair shop by itself." Her mouth tightened. "You can't punish Dad for what I did." The sentence landed exactly where she aimed it. I'm not punishing him. He can barely sit in the car without pain. I drove him Tuesday. You can drive him today. You know his medical history. He knows his medical history. Not accurately. Then write down what he needs to say. You already have it all in that folder. I had created a blue folder after Dad's first appointment. Medication list, insurance card copy, dates, questions. It was in the cabinet beside my parents' refrigerator because I had put it there. "Take the folder," I said. Paige stared at me as if I had told her to perform the examination herself. "You're serious?" "Yes." "This isn't you." The words hurt because part of me agreed. My phone started ringing on the kitchen table. Paige glanced past me. "Is that Mom?" It was. I walked back, picked it up, and declined the call. Paige said, "She's going to keep calling. Then you should probably answer yours. My phone is broken. You know where she keeps the extras." I closed the door. A second later, the casserole dish landed gently on the porch. Mom called again. I declined it again. Then Dad called. I stood with my thumb over the screen until the ringing stopped. His voicemail came through almost immediately. "Elise, it's Dad. Your mother says there's some confusion about this afternoon. Call when you can. No emergency. Also, do you know where the blue folder is?" I pressed the phone to my forehead. Then I called him back. "It's beside the refrigerator," I said when he answered. "Beside it where?" "In the cabinet with the takeout menus." "Ah, found it. Paige is driving you. She seems unhappy about that. She'll survive." Dad lowered his voice. "Your mother is upset. I know. Paige says Colin moved out. He's staying with Grant. Are you all right?" I wanted to give him the answer he expected. The useful one. "No," I said. Dad was quiet. Then he said, "All right, Paige can drive me." After we hung up, I looked through the front window. The casserole was still on the porch, but Paige was gone. For the first time in years, an appointment involving my father was about to happen without me. I waited to feel relieved. Mostly, I felt guilty enough to be sick. Guilt has always made me productive. By noon, I had cleaned the bathroom, answered 14 work emails, and created a new password system so complicated I locked myself out of the electric company website. I brought the casserole inside because leaving it on the porch felt wasteful, then put it in the refrigerator because eating it felt like forgiveness. At 1:30, Paige called from Dad's phone. "We're at the appointment," she said. "Congratulations. They changed his anti-inflammatory." "Okay, the new one starts with an M. Write it down. I did. I'm telling you." "Why?" A pause. "So you know. I don't need to know. What if something happens? Then you'll know." She lowered her voice. "You don't have to act like I'm a stranger. You read months of private messages between me and my husband. I know. You used one to impersonate me. I said I know. Then why are you surprised that I don't want to coordinate Dad's medication with you?" In the background, Dad said, "It's meloxicam." "I heard him," Paige said. "I wasn't talking to you," he replied. "The tiny pleasure I got from that embarrassed me." Paige exhaled. "He's fine. The doctor says he needs to walk more and stop using the heating pad all day. I've been telling him that." "Yes, Elise. Everyone knows you've been telling him that." There was the old shape of us again. I carried something for years. She lifted it once, and somehow my experience became arrogance. "Drive safely," I said. "Wait. Mom wants to know if you can call the moving company." "No. She says the elevator reservation is wrong. Then she should call. She's at the condo. Phones work there. You have the confirmation email. I forwarded it to all three of you this morning. I can't check my email. Dad can. He forgot his password. Mom can. She says the portal is confusing. Then you have a family project." Paige went silent. I almost apologized. The word had already formed behind my teeth when she said, "You're enjoying this." "No, you need me to enjoy it so you can feel mistreated." That sounds like something Colin would say. I ended the call. For the next 10 minutes, I was furious with her. For the 10 after that, I was furious with myself for sounding cruel. By 3, I had opened the moving company's website and entered the reservation number before realizing what I was doing. I closed the browser. Colin called at 7:12, exactly as promised. "Hi," he said. "Hi." Neither of us knew what came after that. We had spoken every day for 11 years, including the day I had my wisdom teeth removed and could only communicate through noises Colin insisted sounded judgmental. Now, a normal greeting felt like a narrow bridge. "How was work?" he asked. Everybody used the word synergy until it lost legal meaning. So normal. "How was yours?" "I spent 3 hours fixing a report someone could have prevented by reading the first page." So normal. We both went quiet again. I sat at the kitchen table with my old phone in front of me. It had been erased now, the screen showing a white greeting in several languages. "Did your dad get to his appointment?" Colin asked. "Yes." "You took him?" Paige did. Another pause. "Okay," he said. "Don't say good." "I wasn't going to. You had a tone. I said one word, it had posture. That made him laugh. Barely." I closed my eyes and listened to it. Then he said, "Grant made chili. How brave was it?" "Medium. He thinks smoked paprika is a controlled substance." "Did you eat?" "Yes." "Did you?" I looked toward the refrigerator. "There's hostile ziti. Paige?" She left it on the porch. "Is that an apology or a threat?" "Unclear. It's under foil." The warmth between us disappeared as quickly as it came. Colin said, "The Denver paperwork is due Monday." "I know. I haven't accepted yet." My back straightened. "You said we were taking it. We were. Then yesterday happened. You're letting Paige decide whether we move?" "No. I'm asking whether we should make a major decision while our marriage is on fire." "It's not on fire." "Elise, fine. It's smoking in one room." "This is what I mean." "What?" "You make things smaller so you can keep carrying them." I stood and walked to the sink, carrying my phone even though I wasn't going anywhere. "I want Denver." "Do you?" "Yes." "Because you want that life? Or because you're afraid I'll leave if you say no? Can it be partly both?" "It can, but I need to know." "I don't have a laboratory for my motives, Colin. I'm not asking for certainty. It feels like you are. I'm asking you not to say what keeps me here." The sentence took the air out of me. "I don't know how to prove that," I said. "Neither do I." He sounded tired, not angry. Somehow, that was worse. I asked, "Are you coming home this weekend? I need clothes tomorrow." "That's not what I asked." "I know. I'll be here," I assumed. After we hung up, I took the ziti from the refrigerator and ate it cold over the sink. Paige had added too much ricotta, the way she always did. It was annoyingly good. Mom arrived the next morning at 8:20 without calling. She wore lipstick and carried the red moving folder tucked under her arm. Mom believed lipstick elevated an ambush into a meeting. "I brought coffee," she said when I opened the door. "I have coffee. This is from that place you like. I don't like it." "You like it. They use real cream. I'm lactose intolerant." Since when? College. She frowned at the cup as if I had changed my digestive system to inconvenience her. Can I come in? I stepped aside, mostly because arguing on the porch had begun to feel like a family tradition. Mom went directly to the kitchen table and placed the red folder in the center. We need to have a calm conversation. If this is about the elevator, it isn't. She removed her coat but kept her purse on her shoulder, ready to leave if calmness turned against her. I barely slept, she said. Neither did I. I'm very worried about you. That makes two of us. And Paige, that makes one of us. Mom gave me a look. She made a terrible mistake. She made about 6 decisions in a row. She knows that. Does she? She cried all afternoon. She also took Dad to his appointment and managed not to end his marriage. Your father isn't married to his doctor. I know. I was there when you married him. Mom folded her hands. You're angry. Yes. You're saying things to wound people. I'm saying things without wrapping them first. That isn't the same as honesty. No, but you've been confusing pleasantness with kindness for a long time. She looked down. For a moment, I saw the tiredness under her makeup. The move had been hard on her. Every room she emptied contained a previous version of her life. She was 61, leaving the house where she had built most of her adult identity, and one daughter was moving across the country, while the other had detonated the family before breakfast. I understood all of that. Understanding had always been the trap door. Mom opened the red folder. I thought if you had something concrete to focus on, it might help. She slid the elevator confirmation toward me. I pushed it back. Her face tightened. I'm not asking you to call. I only need you to look at the time. No, you're sitting right here. Then it should be easy for you. I don't understand why you're punishing your father and me. Paige used my phone to impersonate me, and your first instinct was to defend her. My first instinct was to keep everyone from making it worse. For whom? For this family. That isn't an answer. It is if you stop treating your family like the enemy. The front door opened. Colin stepped into the hallway carrying his overnight bag. He still had a key. Mom's expression changed immediately, softening into concern. Colin, she said. He stopped when he saw her. Marlene. I'm glad you're here. I've been heartsick over this misunderstanding. His hand stayed on the doorknob. Misunderstanding? Paige's message. She understood what she was doing. I mean, you believing it was Elise. Colin looked at me. Mom continued. I'm not blaming you. Anyone can react badly when they're upset. Mom, I said. She sent me a direct statement ending my marriage, Colin said. Then she rejected my calls. Paige panicked. She had to keep touching the screen to panic. I'm not excusing her. You've excused her 6 times since you started speaking. Mom straightened. I came here to help my daughter. No, I said. You came here with moving paperwork. She looked at the red folder, then back at me. That's unfair. You need to leave. Her mouth opened. I stood. Please take the folder and go. Elise, you are making permanent decisions in the middle of an emotional crisis. I'm asking you to leave my kitchen. This is exactly what I was afraid Denver would do. Denver hasn't done anything. We're still in Ohio. Mom gathered the folder with shaking hands. Your sister is devastated. Your father doesn't understand what's happening. I don't recognize you. That might be because you only recognize me when I'm useful. Colin went completely still. Mom put on her coat without answering. At the door, she turned toward him. I hope you understand how much pressure Elise has been under. Please don't explain my wife to me, he said. After she left, I locked the door. Colin set down his bag. That was new. I've asked her to leave before. Not without apologizing while she was leaving. I leaned against the wall. Are you impressed? No. The answer stung. I thought that's what you wanted. I want you to have boundaries because you need them, not because you think I'll come home if you perform them correctly. I'm not performing. Then why are you watching my face? I looked away. He went upstairs. I heard drawers opening, hangers sliding, the zipper of his suitcase. When he came back down, he carried the leather folder under one arm. He opened it on the table, removed my passport, and placed it beside the erased phone. "I'm sorry I took that," he said. I touched the cover. "Are we still married?" "Yes." "Do you still want to be?" His eyes met mine. "Yes," he said. "But I don't want our marriage to survive just because Paige failed to end it. I don't know what that means. Neither do I, yet." That's a terrifying answer. It's an honest one. He sat across from me at the kitchen table, the leather folder on the floor beside his chair. My passport lay between us next to the erased phone, two objects that had traveled farther that week than I had. "What do you want to do?" I asked. "Talk to someone." "Grant?" "A counselor." I looked at him. "We've talked about counseling before," he said. "You mentioned it during a fight. I mentioned it after 6 fights. I thought you were making a point." I was. The point was counseling. The fact that I had categorized the suggestion as rhetoric instead of a request made me feel exposed. "Okay," I said. "Okay, you'll consider it?" "Okay, I'll go." He nodded, but he did not smile. "When?" I asked. "I called someone yesterday. You called a marriage counselor before you knew Paige sent the text? I called from Grant's apartment at 2 in the morning. It was either that or reorganize his kitchen, and he stores drinking glasses upside down. Many people do. On shelf liner. They smell like rubber. Grounds for intervention. She can see us Monday afternoon." I stared at him. "You already made an appointment?" I needed to do something other than wait for you to prove you didn't break up with me. That was fair. I still resented it. "Send me the address. I'll send you everything." He reached for the leather folder. "Are you staying at Grant's until Monday?" "Yes." "What happens after Monday?" "I don't know." "You keep saying that." "Because you keep asking for guarantees. I'm asking where my husband will sleep, and I'm telling you where I'll sleep for the next 3 nights. He stood, and I hated how calm he was. Calm looked too much like distance. "What about Denver? I need your answer by Sunday night." I already answered. "No. You said yes when you thought saying no might cost you me. Then you told your family yes while watching my face. I want you to decide when I'm not in the room. That sounds like a test. It isn't. What happens if I say I don't want to go? I turn down the job. You'd do that?" "Yes." "Would you resent me?" "Probably." I blinked. Colin picked up his bag. "You wanted honesty, not weaponized honesty." That wasn't a weapon. It was an uncomfortable kitchen utensil. Despite myself, I smiled. He came around the table and kissed my forehead. It was tender, familiar, and completely insufficient. After he left, I wrote Denver at the top of a legal pad. Underneath it, I made 2 columns. Reasons to go, reasons not to go. Every reason not to go had a person's name in it. Mom and Dad might need help after the move. Paige won't handle appointments. Dad's back. Mom hates driving downtown. Every reason to go sounded suspiciously like escape. Space. A new start. Mountains. Not being 10 minutes from everyone. I added Colin's job, then crossed it out because that was his reason. I added my work can travel, then crossed that out because it was a fact, not a desire. For 15 minutes, I stared at the page until Denver became a word I no longer recognized. My phone buzzed with a family group message. Mom had written, "The movers say we have only a 2-hour elevator window because someone never confirmed the 4-hour block." Paige replied, "I called the number Elise sent." Mom wrote, "After the deadline." Dad added a thumbs up. Mom responded, "Dennis, that is not good news." Dad wrote, "I know, I am acknowledging receipt." I put the phone face down. 30 seconds later, Paige called. I let it ring. She called again. On the 3rd call, I answered. "Is Dad bleeding?" "No." "Is Mom bleeding?" "No." "Are you bleeding?" "Emotionally." "Goodbye, Paige." "Wait. I'm at the house, and Mom says the walnut dresser has pink tape, but Dad says the pink tape fell off the bookcase." "Then ask the tape." "I'm serious." "So am I." "There are movers coming tomorrow for the donation items. If I send the dresser by mistake, Dad will act like I sold a kidney. Then don't send the dresser. But Mom wants it gone. You're right. This is impossible. No human being could solve it. You don't have to be sarcastic. I'm trying not to become involved. You're involved enough to be mean about it. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Why are you calling me? Because you made the inventory. The inventory lists the walnut dresser as keep. Where? Under bedroom furniture. There are 4 bedrooms. Primary bedroom. Why not say Mom and Dad's room? Because the moving company's form says primary bedroom. You really do become a regional manager when you're mad. I nearly told her which page. The information sat at the front of my mind, polished from use. Read the inventory, I said. Elise, you can do this. She made a frustrated sound. I shouldn't have to do everything alone. I looked at the yellow pad. In the reasons not to go column, Paige won't handle appointments stared back at me. Neither should I said. I ended the call and added a new line under reasons to go. I want to find out who I am when no one is close enough to hand me a folder. That one stayed. The following morning, Paige sent me a photograph of 3 open boxes in my parents' living room. Old yearbooks, framed photographs, and the ceramic horse I had painted at a pottery studio when I was 22 were piled together. Mom says anything you want has to be out today. It was not a request for help. It was a hostage photo. I drove over. The donation truck was parked at the curb. A man in a brown jacket carried Dad's maybe pile out in armfuls while Dad followed him, rescuing individual magazines. You can take the golf ones, Dad said, not the one about volcanoes. The man looked at me for assistance. He's keeping the volcanoes, I said. I gathered that. Paige was in the living room surrounded by boxes. Her hair was tied back with a strip of blue painter's tape. You own hair ties, I said. I owned one. It's in a box marked bathroom or office. That narrows it down. She pointed toward my things. I didn't know what you wanted. I don't want the yearbooks. Mom said you'd regret getting rid of them. Mom thinks high school was 4 years of historical significance. What about the horse? I picked it up. One leg was shorter than the others, and the glaze had pooled around its eyes, giving it a startled expression. Obviously, the horse comes with me. Obviously. We looked at each other, and for half a second we were simply sisters, standing in the room where we had opened birthday presents and fought over the television. Then Paige turned away. Dad keeps removing things from the donation boxes, she said. Mom keeps adding them back. The mover called me sweetheart and asked if there was a decision maker available. What did you say? I said no. I laughed. She did too, but hers ended in a tired sigh. I didn't know there was this much, she said. What did you think I was doing here every day? I thought you liked organizing. I like labels. I don't like 40 hours of unpaid conflict mediation. Mom said you volunteered. Mom says the person who eventually gives in volunteered. Paige sat on the arm of the couch. She's been awful since yesterday. Mom? She keeps asking why I can't do things the way you do. I set the horse in a smaller box. How does that feel? You don't have to look so satisfied. I'm not satisfied. You're a little satisfied. I'm human. She pulled the painter's tape from her hair. Several blonde strands came with it. Ow, you're also an idiot. I know. The words slipped out of her quietly enough that I wasn't sure which accusation she was accepting. Mom entered from the garage carrying 2 lampshades. Elise, thank goodness. I'm only here for my things. The donation people won't take the hutch because it's too heavy. Then call somebody else. They're already here. I can see them. If Colin came with his truck, Colin isn't here. Mom's eyes moved to the bare ring finger of my left hand. I had taken my wedding ring off to shower and forgotten to put it back on. Her face softened with alarm. Oh, Elise, don't. You shouldn't be alone right now. I'm not moving into the condo. I didn't say that. You were about to. There will be a guest room. I have a house. For now. The phrase hit like a small slap. Paige stood. Mom. What? I'm being practical. No, I said. You're turning my marriage crisis into a solution for your moving problems. That is not what I meant. You'd have me in the guest room scheduling Dad's appointments before my suitcase was unpacked. Mom put the lampshades down. I am trying to make sure my daughter has somewhere to go. I have somewhere to go. I'm going home. I carried my box to the car. Paige followed me outside. "Do you really want Denver?" she asked. "Yes." She flinched as if I had answered too quickly. "You didn't even think. I've been thinking for 2 days. What happens to us? That depends on whether there's an us when I stop doing everything." Her eyes filled, but she nodded. I drove home with the ceramic horse buckled into the passenger seat. Colin came over Sunday evening and we sat on opposite ends of the couch. "I want to go," I told him. "Not because you'll leave if I don't. Not only because my family is impossible. I want to see what our life looks like when we choose it on purpose." He studied my face. "And you're sure?" "No. I think that might be different." He opened his laptop. The acceptance form waited on the screen. Colin turned it so we could both see, then rested his finger above the button. "Together?" he asked. I put my hand over his. Together, we accepted Denver. Then he closed the laptop, picked up his overnight bag, and went back to Grant's. The front door clicked shut, and I stared at the place where Colin had been sitting. The ceramic horse occupied the cushion beside me. Its uneven eyes made it look concerned. "Don't," I told it. I carried it upstairs and set it on Colin's nightstand. At 11 that night, he texted me the counseling address, the appointment time, and a link to 6 pages of intake forms. The first question asked why I was seeking therapy. I typed, "My sister impersonated me and broke up with my husband." Then I deleted it and wrote, "Communication difficulties." Colin apparently took the question more seriously. When we sat in the counselor's waiting room the next afternoon, I saw his form clipped beneath mine. Under reason for visit, he had written, "Trust, resentment, family boundaries, emotional avoidance." "You wrote a table of contents," I said. He covered the page with his hand. "You were reading upside down. You write very large. You wrote communication difficulties. It's accurate. So is weather event." A woman opened the office door. "Elise and Colin?" Her name was Nina Harris. She wore red-framed glasses and had a white ceramic duck on the bookshelf behind her desk. I distrusted it immediately. She asked which of us wanted to begin. Colin looked at me. I said, "My sister sent him a breakup text from my number." Nina waited. "That's not usually how we communicate," I added. Colin rubbed his mouth. Nina said, "What happened after the text?" He packed. "What happened before it?" Colin asked. I turned toward him. "You want to start before the crime?" It wasn't a crime. It felt criminal. You know what I mean. Nina shifted her notebook onto her knee. "What would you like me to understand about what came before?" Colin leaned back. "Elise's family depends on her. Her mother, mostly. Her father, too. Her sister is capable, but everyone acts like she isn't, including Paige. We've canceled plans, changed holidays, loaned things that never came back. It's not one huge thing. It's 100 small things," I said. He glanced at me. "Yes." Nina asked, "And when you raise this with Elise?" She explains why each one was necessary, because there usually is a reason. There is always a reason. That's why it works. I wanted to object, but the sentence slid too neatly into a place I recognized. Nina turned to me. "What does it feel like when Colin asks you to say no to them? Like he's asking me to let something fall apart just to prove I can. Is that what you're asking?" she said to him. "Sometimes." He surprised me. Colin looked at his hands. "Sometimes I know the thing matters. Her dad's appointment matters. Her mom getting moved safely matters. But I still want Elise to refuse because I need evidence that our plans count too. So you want her to make a choice. Yes, even if it creates a problem." "Yes." I stared at him. "You always say it isn't about making me choose. It shouldn't be." "That's not an answer." "No. Sometimes I want you to choose me. I hate that I want it, but I do." The office was very quiet. Somewhere beyond the wall, a printer made a grinding noise. Nina asked, "What did you feel when you received the breakup message?" Colin took a breath. "First, I thought it made sense. I looked away. Not because I believed she didn't love me," he continued, "because it sounded like the worst version of what she'd already said. Then I was angry. Then I thought if I packed, she would have to come after me. I turned back." "What?" He met my eyes. "I didn't decide that consciously. You took a suitcase and both our passports. I told you the passports were an accident. The suitcase wasn't." "No." Nina asked, "When did you decide to leave?" "After the 4th rejected call. And what did you hope would happen?" "I hoped she'd stop me. I wasn't home. I know, you knew I wasn't home. I wasn't being reasonable." I sat back against the couch. For days, I had pictured Colin reading the message, devastated and fooled. I had blamed him for believing it, then blamed myself for making it believable. I had not considered that some part of him had packed as a message of his own. "You turned it into an emergency," I said. His forehead creased. "You know I respond to emergencies. You wanted me to pick you, so you made yourself the biggest crisis in the room." Colin looked as if I had struck him. Nina said nothing. I liked her slightly more. "I'm sorry," he said. My anger rose instead of easing. "You already apologized for believing the text. I'm apologizing for leaving the way I did. You wanted me to find the closet empty. I think I did. That's awful." "Yes." "You don't get to say yes like that fixes it." "I'm not. You've spent 4 days telling me Paige didn't make you pack, as if that was proof our marriage was already broken. You never said you were trying to scare me, too. I didn't understand it until right now. Convenient." He looked down. Nina asked me what I wanted from him in that moment. "I want him to admit I wasn't the only person communicating through a threat." Colin nodded. "You weren't, and I want him to come home." His head lifted. Nina asked, "Are those connected?" "I don't know." Colin gave me a tired smile. "Now you're saying it." "I'm allowed once." "What would coming home mean?" Nina asked. "That we're trying," I said. "I am trying," Colin said. "From Grant's couch. It's a futon. That's much more committed." Nina held up a hand. "Would living in the same house help you work on this, or would it allow you both to avoid it?" I thought of Colin's blue mug in the sink. I thought of him upstairs in the bedroom while I answered Mom's calls in the kitchen. Familiarity could hide almost anything. "We have a guest room," I said. Colin looked at me. "You want me in the guest room?" "No. I want you home. I'm offering the guest room because apparently this is a negotiation between diplomats. I can come home tomorrow. Why not tonight? I have work at Grant's. I left half my files on his dining table." "That sounds invented. It's not." Nina asked, "Elise, if tomorrow is a sincere offer, what makes tonight important?" The answer was embarrassing, because if he waits, I have to spend another night knowing he chose not to come back. Colin's face softened. "I'll come tonight," he said. I looked at the ceramic duck. It seemed smug. After the session, we stood in the parking lot beside our separate cars. The day was warm for March, and dirty piles of snow had shrunk against the curbs. "That was terrible," I said. "Yeah. Are we paying her to make us feel worse?" "I think the worst feelings were already included. You should have told me about the suitcase. I didn't know. You knew you packed it. I didn't know why." "Do you know now?" He leaned against his car. Grant asked why I took the passports. I told him they were in the same folder. They were. He asked why I took the folder. I waited. Colin looked at me. I didn't need my certificates that night. The admission should have angered me more. Instead, I felt something inside me settle into a less comfortable, but more accurate shape. "You wanted it to look permanent. Maybe. Don't give me maybe. Yes." I nodded. "I'm sorry," he said. "I know. Is that forgiveness?" "No." "Fair." My phone rang. Mom's name appeared on the screen. Colin glanced at it, then deliberately looked away. I declined the call. "You don't have to do that because I'm standing here," he said. "I know. Do you?" "She'll leave a message." The voicemail arrived while we were still standing there. "Elise, the condo office says we can't bring the dining table through the service entrance unless the legs are removed. Your father says you have the right tool. Call me as soon as you get this." Colin looked at me. "What?" I said. I didn't say anything. "Your eyebrows did." "I can remove the legs," he said. "No, it would take 10 minutes. "No." He smiled. "You think this is a test? Everything feels like a test. Then what do you want to do?" I listened to the message again, not because I had missed anything, because Mom's urgency had a rhythm my body recognized. "I own a socket wrench," I said. "It's in our garage. They can borrow it." "Okay, I'm not removing the legs." "Okay, I can tell them which drawer. You don't have to negotiate with me. I'm negotiating with the version of you in my head." "How's he doing?" "Very judgmental." Strong eyebrows. My phone rang again, this time Paige. I answered. "The table legs," she began. "Socket wrench. Bottom drawer of the red tool cabinet in our garage. You can borrow it." "I don't know how to use a socket wrench. Dad does. His back. He can tell you." "Elise, can Colin just—" "No." Silence. Then Paige said, "Fine." I waited for the accusation. Instead, she asked, "Can I come by around 6? For the wrench?" "And to talk." "About what?" "What do you think?" "I have learned not to guess what you think." She exhaled. "I want to apologize properly." I looked at Colin. "To me or Colin?" "Both." "Not tonight." "When?" "I don't know." "You can't avoid me forever." "I'm not avoiding you. I'm deciding when you get access to me." Paige went quiet. "Leave the wrench in the garage when you're done," I said. Colin and I stopped for dinner before going home. We sat in a booth and talked about nothing important for 20 minutes. He stole one of my fries. I took 2 of his in retaliation. It felt almost normal until both of us noticed it feeling normal. At home, he carried his bag upstairs. I followed him. He paused between the bedroom and the guest room. "Where do you want me?" he asked. The honest answer was in our bed, holding me until the last 4 days became impossible. "The guest room," I said. He nodded and turned toward it. I touched his arm. "Just for now. I know." He set his bag on the guest bed, then went downstairs. A minute later, I heard water running in the kitchen. When I came down, Colin was washing his blue mug. He set the mug upside down in the drying rack. "On a towel," I said. Colin glanced at the dish towel beneath it. "Not shelf liner, growth." We stood in the kitchen with nothing left to wash. "Do we need rules?" I asked. "For the mug? For this?" He leaned back against the counter. "Probably. No bringing dates home. That was high on my list. No pretending you don't live here when Mom calls. I do live here. In the guest room, in the same house. No listening outside the bathroom when I'm crying. I've never done that. You knew I cried in the bathroom in February. You came out looking like you'd washed your face with sandpaper. Fine. No using observational skills against me." He smiled, then grew serious. "No fighting through text. That seems relevant. No leaving during a fight without saying where we're going. Also relevant. No threatening the marriage unless we mean it. I never threatened the marriage. You told me it felt like marriage forced you to choose. That isn't the same as saying I'm leaving. I know. I'm saying both of us stop using the possibility of losing each other to win something." I looked toward the table, where the erased phone still sat beside my passport. "Okay." "And no family calls during dinner unless someone is actually in danger. How will we know before answering? We can check the message. My mother doesn't leave useful messages. Then she can learn." He said it casually, as if adults could learn new behavior at any age. I wanted to believe him. That night, I lay in our bed listening to Colin move around across the hall. A drawer opened. The guest room closet squeaked. Pipes knocked when he brushed his teeth. At 12:40, I heard his door. At 12:42, I went downstairs. He was standing in the light from the refrigerator eating Paige's baked ziti directly from the dish. "You found the hostile pasta." I was ambushed. "You're using my fork. I didn't know we'd divided the silverware. We haven't discussed assets." He handed me the fork. I took a bite. We passed it back and forth in the dark kitchen, two people separated by a guest room and united by our inability to reheat food. "Did you keep the screenshot?" I asked. Colin nodded. "Why?" "I don't know. That answer is really getting a workout. I thought Nina might want to see it. She didn't." "No. Are you going to delete it?" He looked into the casserole dish. "Eventually." The answer bothered me, but I understood it. The message was proof of what Paige had done. It was also proof of what he had believed. Deleting it would not decide which mattered more. "Paige wants to apologize," I said. "To you? To both of us. What did you tell her?" "Not tonight." "Good." I gave him a look. "Sorry, neutral." "Better." "Do you want to hear her?" "I don't know. You can say no." "I know I can say no. I don't know if I want to." He scraped cheese from the edge of the dish. "Those aren't the same problem." I leaned against the counter beside him. Our shoulders almost touched. "I miss you," I said. His hand stopped. "I miss you too." Neither of us moved closer. The next morning, we met at the kitchen table with coffee and the relocation calendar. Colin's start date in Denver was 6 weeks away. Our lease ended 4 days before that, and extending it would require another full month. "The company will cover temporary housing," he said. "In Denver or here, depending on when the movers take our things. Our movers or my parents' movers. Ours. I now specify." I turned the calendar sideways. If we pack the house the week after Mom and Dad move, we'd need somewhere here for about 10 days. Grant has offered his futon. He also stores glasses upside down on rubber. I told him that was disqualifying. We could find a furnished rental. For 10 days? People rent apartments for 10 days. People rent castles for 10 days. That doesn't make it sensible. My phone lit up with a message from Mom. "I have been thinking. The guest room at the condo will be ready once the boxes are out. If you need somewhere to stay while you sort things out, you should stay with us. No sense wasting money." I turned the screen toward Colin. He read it twice. Efficient. She found a way to combine my potential separation with free labor. She may actually be worried. Those things can coexist. He nodded. "Do you want to stay there?" "No. Then we won't." The simplicity startled me. Even if the rental is expensive, I would pay a lot of money not to sleep beside your father's volcano magazines. I opened the short-term rental website. We found a furnished one-bedroom above a dentist's office. The photographs showed a narrow kitchen, a green couch, and a framed sign that said, "Dance like no one is watching." "Someone was watching," Colin said. "That's why they made the sign. It has parking. It also has a decorative ladder with blankets on it. You'll survive. Will we both be staying there?" The question sat quietly between us. "That's the plan," I said. "Okay, we booked it." I replied to Mom that we had made other arrangements. She sent back a single question mark followed by "call me." I didn't. Paige came Saturday afternoon with a socket wrench in a paper grocery bag. "One piece might be missing," she said at the door. "How many pieces did you start with?" "A wrench and several round things. Sockets. One socket may have rolled under the hutch. Did the legs come off?" "Eventually." Dad gave directions from a dining chair while Mom accused him of breathing dramatically. That sounds productive. I also scratched the floor. Mom must be thrilled. She put a rug over it. There was no casserole this time. Paige wore jeans and a plain gray sweater, and her phone was still broken. Without it in her hand, she looked oddly unfinished. Colin came down the stairs. Paige's posture changed when she saw him. "Hi." "Hi. I'm glad you're home." He stopped at the bottom step. "Are you?" She accepted the question without flinching. "Yes." I moved into the living room. "Sit down." Paige sat on the couch. Colin took the armchair, leaving me to choose between sitting beside my sister and standing like a prosecutor. I chose the other end of the couch. Paige pressed her palms together. "I practiced this," she said. "That's ominous," I replied. "I'm trying not to make it about how I felt." "More ominous." "Elise, go ahead." She looked at Colin first. "I read your message when it appeared on the old phone. I knew I shouldn't read it, and then I opened the conversation anyway. I scrolled through things that weren't mine. I found the argument about Elise choosing between you and us. I was angry, and I used her words to make you think she was leaving." Colin's face revealed nothing. Paige continued, "I rejected your calls. Then I deleted the messages because I knew what I had done was wrong. The next morning, I tried to pretend I didn't know what happened." "I'm sorry." "For which part?" he asked. "All of it. Why did you want me to think my wife left me?" Paige looked at me, then caught herself and looked back at him. "I wanted you to panic." "I did." "I know. You told Elise you thought I'd call or come to the house. I was trying to make it sound less bad. Did you expect me to fight for her?" "Yes." "Against whom?" Paige's lips parted. "You were pretending to be her," he said. "Who was I supposed to fight?" "I don't know. Did you want me to beg?" "Maybe. Why?" "Because I thought if you were scared enough to lose her, you'd stop pushing her to move." Colin leaned forward, forearms on his knees. "You thought hurting me would make me easier to control." Paige looked down. "Yes?" The honesty was ugly and, because of that, believable. "I'm sorry," she said again. "I don't expect you to forgive me." "Good." I glanced at him. He did not soften it. Paige nodded. "I deserve that." Then she turned to me. "I don't know how to apologize to you. That didn't stop you from practicing. I practiced things that all sounded like excuses, such as that I was scared, that Mom had been crying after you left, that Colin sounded controlling in the messages, that everybody was stressed about the move. They are excuses." "I know." She twisted her fingers together. "I thought if you moved, everything would land on me. It has landed on you for 4 days. I know. How is it?" "Awful." The answer was so immediate that Colin looked away to hide a smile. Paige continued, "Mom is angry at me when I do things wrong, then angry at me for asking how. Dad asks where you are every time he can't find something. Yesterday, Mom said, Elise would have labeled this properly, and I wanted to put the label maker in the garbage disposal. That would damage the disposal." "I know. Dad told me." A laugh rose in my throat. I forced it down. Paige's eyes were wet now. "I always thought you did things because you were better at them," she said. "I didn't understand that being better meant no one let you stop." The sentence reached somewhere her previous apologies had not. "You could have understood," I said. "I told you. I thought you were criticizing me." "I was, I know. That made it easier not to listen." Colin sat back. Paige wiped her cheek with the heel of her hand. "When you said Denver, I pictured Mom looking at me every day and seeing the daughter who wasn't you." The room went still. "That isn't my fault," I said. "No, it isn't my job to stay so Mom never has to see you clearly. No, and you don't get to destroy my life because you're afraid of your own." "I know." I studied her face. I wanted to punish her with silence. I also wanted to move closer and tuck the loose hair behind her ear, a gesture I had made 1,000 times. "I'm not ready to forgive you," I said. Paige nodded. "I don't know when I will be. I understand. And you don't come to my house without asking anymore. Okay, you don't get passwords, keys, old devices, or access to anything because Mom decides you need it. Okay, Mom doesn't get to negotiate those rules for you." Paige swallowed. "Okay." Colin stood. Paige stood too. At the door, she turned to him. "I said something about you leaving too fast. I heard. That was me trying to hand you part of what I did. I know. I'm sorry for that too." Colin opened the door for her. "Thank you." It was not forgiveness, but it was more than good. After Paige drove away, I found Colin in the kitchen looking through the paper bag. "Which socket is missing?" he asked. "I'm afraid to look." He spread them on the counter. 10 millimeter. Is that bad? It's always the 10 millimeter. Can we replace it? Yes. Then why do you sound like somebody died? Because every toolbox in America is missing a 10 millimeter socket. It's tradition. I leaned against the counter. Did you believe her? I believed the apology. So did I. That doesn't mean you owe her anything yet. I know. He looked at me. You keep saying that. I'm practicing. Mom called before dinner. I answered because I wanted to, not because the ringing moved my hand. Paige is distraught, she said without greeting me. She apologized. She said you gave her no indication that you'll forgive her. I didn't. What more do you want her to do? I want her to live with not knowing for a while. That's cruel. No, it's a consequence. She is your sister. I know exactly who she is. Mom's voice sharpened. This family is under enormous pressure, and you seem determined to withdraw every ounce of compassion you have. I looked at Colin. He was standing by the stove, pretending not to listen. I have compassion, I said. You're upset because I stopped confusing it with obedience. Mom inhaled. I ended the call before she could answer. My hand shook after I put the phone down. Colin came over, but he did not praise me. He did not ask whether I was all right. He simply held out his hand. I took it. His palm was warm and slightly damp. We stood that way until something hissed behind him. "The onions," he said. "They're burning." I noticed. He let go of my hand to rescue dinner. The onions were beyond rescue, so we opened the windows and ate scrambled eggs instead. Colin sat across from me at the kitchen table, close enough that our knees touched twice. Neither of us moved away. Afterward, he carried his pillow back to the guest room. I told myself I was glad he was taking this seriously. Then I lay awake, resenting his integrity. A stack of flattened moving boxes arrived 2 days later. Colin leaned them against the living room wall where they looked like a warning. "Do we have to start now?" I asked. "We own 14 different serving bowls. We entertain. When?" "We could. Is that what the bowls are waiting for?" I picked up a blue ceramic bowl Mom had given us for Christmas. This is sentimental. You complained that it was too heavy. It can be sentimental and poorly designed. We started with the books because books did not require a conversation about whose life they belonged to. Colin packed his histories and detective novels. I packed my cookbooks, most of which had never been opened far enough to crack the spines. He found the legal pad beneath a stack of mail. Denver was written at the top. The 2 columns filled the page, crossed out reasons tangled between the ones I had kept. I reached for it. Colin pulled his hand back. "Sorry. No. You can read it." He sat on the floor beside an empty box. His eyes moved down the reasons not to go, each one containing somebody's name. Then he read the other column. When he reached the line about finding out who I was when nobody was close enough to hand me a folder, his mouth tightened. "I didn't know you felt like this," he said. "I didn't know either. You've said you were tired. Tired is acceptable. Resentful isn't. To whom? Everybody." He set the pad on his knee. "Including me? Sometimes." He nodded without looking surprised. "That bothered me. You could pretend that hurts. It does hurt. You look prepared. I've known there were things you resented. You just usually turn them into headaches." "I get headaches. I know." I sat beside him on the rug. "I resented that you saw it," I said. "The family stuff. I thought you were judging me for letting it happen. Sometimes I was." "Thank you for ruining the moment. I also admired you. For answering every call. For being the person everyone trusted. You make chaos quieter. You walk into a room and notice what needs to happen. That sounds like my mother." "No. Your mother notices what needs to happen and notices you." I looked down at the pad. Colin continued. "I liked that you were dependable. Then I started hating everyone who depended on you. Then I started hating myself for depending on you, too. You don't. I do. You remember my mother's birthday. You make our dentist appointments. You know which air filter the furnace takes. I'm better with measurements. I'm an adult man with access to cardboard. Do you want to buy the wrong filter and learn from failure? I'd like the opportunity. I leaned my head against the couch. What if Denver doesn't change me? I asked. It won't. That was fast. Denver is a city. It doesn't perform personality surgery. What if we get there and I keep answering every call? Then you'll have excellent reception at altitude. I laughed. He folded the legal pad and handed it to me. We work on it there. We work on it here first. The doorbell rang. Dad stood on the porch holding the missing 10mm socket between his thumb and index finger. Found this under the hutch, he said. Colin will be thrilled. Dad stepped inside and looked at the moving boxes. You started packing. A little. You're really going. That's how packing usually works. I know. Your mother keeps saying it hasn't hit her yet. Has it hit you? Yes. He followed me to the kitchen. Colin took the socket from him with the solemn gratitude of a person receiving a lost family heirloom. I thought it was gone forever, Colin said. It had rolled into a floor vent. How did you get it out? Magnet on a string. Colin examined the socket. That's excellent work. Dad looked pleased. Paige thought of it. That surprised me more than it should have. Colin returned to packing, leaving Dad and me at the table. Dad did not sit. He wandered around the kitchen, looking at cabinets he had seen dozens of times. Your mother asked me to come, he said. I assumed, but I wanted to. Both things can be true. That's what Paige said. I almost smiled. Dad finally pulled out a chair. He lowered himself carefully, one hand pressed to his back. How was the new medication? I asked. It helps. Are you walking? I walked through 3 furniture stores yesterday. That's shopping. My legs don't know the difference. I poured him coffee. He accepted it, then stirred in sugar without tasting it first. Your mother thinks you're trying to teach us a lesson, he said. What do you think? I think you're angry. Everyone keeps announcing that like it's a diagnosis. I also think we gave Paige your phone. Mom gave Paige my phone. It was in our house. I knew Marlene had it. Did you know it wasn't wiped? I thought old phones stopped being phones when you bought a new one. That isn't how anything works. I see that now. He took a sip and made a face. I had forgotten the sugar. He had added it to black coffee and was too polite to complain. I should have asked more questions, he said. About the phone? About all of it. I sat across from him. Dad traced a wet ring beneath the mug. Your mother likes things a certain way. I've noticed. And Paige has always needed more patience. According to Mom, according to all of us. Why? He thought about it. She reacts. So do I. You go quiet. That's a reaction. It doesn't feel like one to the people around you. There was no cruelty in his voice. That made the words easier to hear and harder to dismiss. When Paige is unhappy, he continued, everybody knows. When you're unhappy, you fix the thing making you unhappy. Until I don't. Yes. He looked toward the living room where Colin was sealing a box. I always called you the strong one. I remember. I meant it as a compliment. It became a job description. Dad nodded slowly. That sounds right. I had expected him to defend himself. His agreement loosened something in me, but not enough to make the past harmless. You let Mom call me for things you could handle, I said. Yes. You let her volunteer me. Yes. You watched Paige disappear every time work started. Sometimes I told myself you preferred doing it. You knew I didn't. Sometimes. The answer was not complete enough to be satisfying. It was too complete to fight with. Why didn't you stop it? Dad rubbed his thumb over the mug handle. Your mother gets upset when she feels unsupported. It was easier when you supported her. For you, yes. He said it without hiding. I sat back. I'm sorry, he said. I waited for the part after, but it did not come. From the living room, tape tore loudly from the dispenser. Dad cleared his throat. The move is Thursday. I know. Your mother has made a schedule. Of course she has. You're on it. I'm not following it. I told her that. I looked at him. She wrote your name beside kitchen supervision, he said. I crossed it out. What did Mom do? Wrote it again in pen. That was so precisely her that I laughed. Dad smiled. I crossed it out with a thicker pen. Rebellion looks good on you. I'm 64. I need to pace myself. He drank more of the bad coffee. We would like you there, he said, not to supervise. It's the last day in the house. I want to say goodbye. Then come for that. I'm not carrying boxes. You shouldn't. Your lifting posture is terrible. I organized your entire garage and lifted with your back. I narrowed my eyes. Dad's smile faded. Come when you want. Leave when you want. Does Mom know you're saying that? No. Will you tell her? He looked toward the front door as if escape might still be possible. Yes. After Dad left, Colin found me standing at the sink with the untouched half of Dad's coffee. How was that? He asked. Confusing. He brought the socket back. He apologized. Colin stopped. No excuses, I said. No request attached until afterward, and even that sounded like a request. What did he ask? For me to come say goodbye to the house. Do you want to? Yes. Then we'll go. He didn't ask you. Do you want me there? Yes. Then we'll go. I touched the dish towel hanging from the oven handle. He admitted it was easier for him when I kept Mom happy. That's big. It should make me feel better. Does it? Not yet. Colin leaned beside me. You don't have to turn every honest conversation into immediate healing. That sounds like Nina. She charges by the hour. I'm giving it away. My phone buzzed. Paige had sent a photograph of Mom's handwritten moving schedule. My name appeared in 4 places. Each one had been crossed out, rewritten, and crossed out again. Under the picture, Paige wrote, Dad and Mom are having a pen war. Dad is losing on color but winning on ink density. A second message appeared. Come Thursday if you want to be here. We'll manage the move. I showed Colin. He read it, then handed the phone back without comment. Is this what change looks like? I asked. Probably. It's very disorganized. Most construction sites are. That night, we packed until 10. Colin carried another box upstairs, then stopped in the hallway between the 2 bedrooms. I stood in our doorway. Neither of us spoke. Finally, he said, I don't want coming back to our room to mean we're done working on this. It won't. And I don't want staying across the hall to feel like I'm punishing you. It does. I know. I looked at the pillow under his arm. Bring it in, I said. He hesitated. Not because everything is fixed, I added, because I want my husband beside me while we fix it. Colin came into the room. We lay on our own sides of the bed at first, a careful strip of mattress between us. In the dark, he reached across it, palm up. I put my hand in his. Neither of us let go. The careful strip of mattress disappeared sometime before morning. I woke with my cheek against Colin's shoulder and one of his knees wedged between mine. His hand rested at my waist, heavy with sleep. For a few minutes I stayed still and listened to him breathe. Then his alarm went off beneath his pillow. He jerked awake and knocked his forehead against mine. Oh, God, you attacked me. I was unconscious. That won't hold up in court. He squinted at me. Are you okay? My marriage survived an assassination attempt. I think my forehead will recover. The joke left us both quiet. Colin touched the place he had bumped. Too soon? Probably. Sorry. I'm not. I kissed him. It was not a polite kiss or a careful one. It tasted like morning breath and relief and the anger that had not left either of us. When we pulled apart, he rested his forehead more gently against mine. We still have counseling tomorrow, he said. I know. And your parents move Thursday. I know. And 43 boxes downstairs. You really know how to make a moment. I'm dependable. Thursday morning, Paige sent a picture of the moving truck at 7:12. Mom says we started without you. I wrote back. I wasn't scheduled to start. 3 dots appeared, vanished, then appeared again. I know. I'm translating. Colin and I arrived at 10. Most of the furniture was gone and the house had taken on the echo of a place that no longer belonged to anyone. The front door stood open. Movers carried boxes down the steps while Mom followed each one, reading its label aloud as if announcing a parade. Primary bath. That goes near the back of the truck. Near the back, please. A man carrying the box said, "Ma'am, the whole truck has to be unloaded. I understand, but that one should be accessible. It'll all be accessible when it's off the truck." She turned and saw me. "You're late. I didn't agree to a time. The kitchen still needs supervision." "I'm not supervising the kitchen." Mom looked at Colin as if he might clarify my condition. He said, "Good morning, Marlene." Her mouth tightened. "Good morning." Paige came down the hallway wearing black leggings, Dad's old college sweatshirt, and a strip of pink tape on her shoulder. "Thank God," she said. Mom brightened. Then Paige added, "You came to say goodbye." Mom's expression changed again. "Yes," I said. "We did." Paige nodded toward the stairs. "The bedrooms are empty. Dad is in the garage negotiating with a mover over a box of extension cords. What's his position? That every household needs 14. He's wrong. I got him down to 9. That's good work." Mom shoved a clipboard at Paige. The condo office called. "They need someone downstairs when the truck arrives. I arranged for Dad to go ahead. Your father can't stand that long. He can sit in the lobby. He'll wander off." Dad came in from the garage, carrying 2 coiled orange cords. "I'm not a balloon." Mom ignored him. "Elise, could you ride over with your father?" "No." The answer came cleanly. No explanation attached. Mom stared at me. Dad said, "I can get to the condo." "You left your coffee on the roof of the car last week," Mom said. "It made it to the highway. That is not the defense you think it is." "I'll go with him," Paige said. "You need to stay here. Then you go with him." "I need to stay here." All 3 of them looked at me. I kept my coat on. Mom's face flushed. "This is ridiculous." Colin shifted beside me, but he did not speak. Paige picked up her purse. "Mom, you stay. I'll take Dad, get him settled in the lobby, then come back. You'll miss the truck. I know where the condo is." "What about the inventory?" "It's on my phone." "You don't have your phone." "I picked it up yesterday. You didn't tell me." "I didn't realize my electronics required a press release." Dad put the extension cords on top of a box. "I'm ready." Mom looked at Paige as if she had betrayed her by solving the problem incorrectly. "Fine," she said. "Go." Paige caught my eye as she passed. The look was brief but clear. "Don't rescue me." I didn't. Colin and I went upstairs. The primary bedroom smelled faintly of dust and Mom's perfume. 4 dents marked where the bedposts had stood. The curtains were gone, and bright squares of sunlight fell across the carpet. I opened the closet. Empty hangers clicked against the rod. "Mom used to hide Christmas presents up there," I said, pointing to the shelf. "Did you find them?" "Paige did. Every year. Did she tell you what you were getting?" "She charged me. Money, chores. One year I cleaned her car for 2 weeks to learn I was getting a sweater. Was it worth it?" "It had shoulder pads." He smiled. The room across the hall had been mine. I had not slept there in almost 2 decades, but my body still expected the floorboard near the window to creak. It did. A pale patch on the wall showed where a dresser had stood. On the windowsill, someone had left a bent paper clip and one of Mom's pearl earrings. I picked up the earring. "Do you want it?" Colin asked. "No." I put it in my pocket anyway. My old room did not make me want to stay. That surprised me. I had expected grief to live in the walls, waiting for the furniture to leave so it could come out. Mostly I felt tired. We moved through the other rooms slowly. Dad's office had held so many filing cabinets that the carpet looked striped. The upstairs bathroom still had a bar of soap beside the sink. In the hall closet, 1 empty plastic hanger remained. Downstairs, a mover stood beside the dining room hutch with his hands on his hips. "This isn't on the list," he said. Mom held the red folder open. It was always on the list. He showed her his clipboard. "Not mine." "Elise," Mom called. I stayed on the bottom stair. She turned toward me. "Do you have the original inventory?" "No." "Yes, you do." "You created it." "I emailed it to everybody. I can't find that email. Paige has it. Paige is gone. She'll be back. The truck can't wait." The mover glanced toward the front door with the expression of a man who had met many families at their worst and charged by the hour. Mom came closer to me. Could you please look it up? No, this isn't taking over the move. It's one email. The hutch wasn't going to the condo. Yes, it was. You put pink tape on it. I changed my mind. Did you tell the moving company? I told you. You told me you might keep it. That means keep. It means might. Her voice dropped. Are you really going to stand there and watch this become a disaster? The old reflex surged through me so hard that my fingers tingled. I knew the moving company's confirmation number. I knew which email thread contained the last inventory. I could fix the problem in under 3 minutes. Colin looked at the hutch, not at me. Before I could answer, Paige came through the front door. Dad's at the condo, she said. What happened? Mom gestured at the hutch. It isn't on the inventory. Paige took out her repaired phone, because it was marked for donation. I changed my mind. When? I told Elise. Paige looked at me. She said she might keep it, I said. Paige nodded. Then it wasn't added. Mom's face hardened. So now both my daughters are going to lecture me while strangers leave my furniture behind. The mover said, We can take it. There's an additional item fee, and I need to see if we have room. How much? Paige asked. He told her. Mom objected. Paige opened the calculator on her phone, added something, then showed Mom the screen. That's what it'll cost to send another truck, she said. This is cheaper. It might not fit in the condo. Then decide now. Mom looked at the hutch. The hutch had held good china, unopened mail, batteries, birthday candles, and one bottle of red wine Dad insisted was expensive, despite the screw top. Mom loved it because her mother had loved it. She also complained every time someone had to move it. Take it, she told the mover. Paige signed the additional item form. Nobody died. The moment was so ordinary, I almost laughed. Mom watched the hutch leave, then turned on me. I hope you're satisfied. Why would I be satisfied? You wanted to prove we could struggle without you. No, you needed to prove you couldn't. Her eyes flashed. I needed my daughter. You needed an inventory. I needed support. You had Dad. You had Paige. You had movers. I wanted you. The words caught me off guard. Mom's eyes filled, which made mine burn in response. Then you should have said that, I said. I shouldn't have to beg my own daughter to care that I'm leaving her childhood home. I do care. You came at 10 o'clock like a guest. I am a guest. I don't live here anymore. You haven't lived here for years. That isn't what I meant. I know. The empty dining room amplified every word. Mom looked at Colin. And you're just standing there. He met her eyes. This is between you and Elise. Nothing is ever only between two people in a family. That's part of the problem, I said. She turned back to me. You think moving across the country will make you happy? I think I want to go. Because he wants to. Because I chose it. After he packed a suitcase and scared you half to death. Colin stiffened. I said, Do not use what he did to excuse what Paige did. I'm not excusing anyone. I'm saying your marriage had problems before that message. Yes, it did. Mom blinked. She had expected me to defend it. We're working on them, I continued. That doesn't make Paige less responsible, and it doesn't make me more available to you. So this is permanent. What is? These rules. These refusals. Treating every request as an attack. No. The boundary is permanent. The anger won't always be. What boundary? I am not the automatic answer anymore. Mom folded her arms. Your father will still have appointments. He's an adult. He needs help. Then ask if I'm available. Accept the answer if I'm not. And if Paige is busy, then you may have to change plans. You make family sound like a business arrangement. You made me an unpaid employee. Her face crumpled. I wanted to take it back. Not because it was false, because it was true in a way that hurt both of us. Dad returned with Paige's car and walked in, holding the Volcano magazine. I forgot this, he said. Mom turned away and wiped her eyes. He looked at me. Did you see everything? Yes. Garage? Yes. The patch by the workbench was from when I dropped the snowblower. You told Mom the floor cracked by itself. Concrete settles. Mom made a strangled sound that might have been a laugh. Dad reached into his pocket and set a key on the bare dining room windowsill. Last one, he said. I took my house key from my ring. Mom noticed. Keep it. We'll have a key made for the condo. No, a lease. I don't want a key you expect me to use. What if there's an emergency? You'll call me, and if you can't get in, you'll be inside. You live there. Dad covered a smile with his hand. I placed my key beside his. Paige came to stand near me. There was dust on her cheek and a tear in one sleeve. We have to go meet the truck, she said. Mom picked up the red folder. At the front door, I looked back at the empty house. I loved it. I resented it. I could have walked through every room with my eyes closed. I did not need a key to prove any of that. Outside, Paige hugged me without asking. I stayed stiff for a second, then put my arms around her. I can manage, she whispered. I know. It was the first time I meant it. Colin and I got into our car. He waited before starting the engine. Do you want to go back? He asked. I looked at the house one last time. No, I said. He drove us home. We made it 3 blocks before I started crying. Not gracefully. My face folded, my nose ran, and I made one sharp sound that startled both of us. Colin glanced over. Do you want me to pull over? No, are you sure? No. He pulled into the parking lot of a closed garden center. Bags of frozen mulch stood outside like low, dark gravestones. I pressed both hands over my face. Colin turned off the engine. He did not tell me I had done the right thing. He did not tell me my mother would understand eventually. He waited. I left the pearl earring in my pocket, I said. Okay, she'll think the movers lost it. Do you want to take it to her? No. Okay, I should have put it on the windowsill with the keys. Maybe. I don't even know why I took it. You saw something that belonged to your mother and put it somewhere safe. That sounded so much like me that I cried harder. Colin reached across the console. I leaned into him awkwardly, the gear shift pressing into my ribs. I love that house, I said into his jacket. I know. I hated being there. I know. Stop knowing things. I can pretend to be confused. You're not good at it. That's fair. I laughed, which turned into another sob. When we finally drove home, I carried the pearl earring upstairs and placed it inside a small padded envelope. I wrote Mom on the front, but did not mail it. For 3 days it sat beside my jewelry box while we packed around it. Mom did not call. The silence should have been restful. Instead, it occupied the house like a fourth person. Dad texted photographs from the condo. The first showed the walnut hutch taking up most of one wall and blocking half an electrical outlet. Fits perfectly, he wrote. I replied, if you don't need electricity. He sent a laughing face, then a picture of the Volcano magazine on the coffee table. Paige sent fewer updates. She told me the elevator had worked, the dining table had arrived with all its legs, and Mom had discovered 6 boxes labeled miscellaneous. I wrote those were hers. Paige replied, she says you labeled them. I wrote I refused on principle. That earned me a heart. Mom's silence lasted until Sunday morning. Her message said, your father would like everyone to come for dinner. 6 o'clock. I assume you and Colin are capable of deciding whether that is acceptable under the new rules. I read it aloud. Colin looked up from a box of kitchen utensils. That's inviting. She wants me to refuse. Do you want to? No. Then let's go. You don't have to. I know. She may say something awful. I know. You're doing that again. What? Making it sound simple. It is simple. The evening may be complicated. At 5:45, I put Mom's earring in my purse. Colin carried a bottle of wine. I almost told him not to bring anything because Mom would read symbolism into the label, then decided that was her hobby, not our responsibility. The condo building smelled like fresh paint and someone else's fish dinner. Dad buzzed us in from the lobby even though we were already inside. I'm still learning the intercom, he explained when the elevator opened. He stood beside a brass luggage cart loaded with flattened boxes. "Why are you in the lobby?" I asked. "Your mother asked me to take these to recycling. The recycling room is downstairs." "I am downstairs. It's behind that door." He looked at the sign directly beside him. "Ah," Colin took one side of the cart. "I'll help." Dad lowered his voice. "I can do it." "I know." They wheeled the boxes away together. I took the elevator up alone. Paige opened the condo door. Her repaired phone was in her back pocket, and she wore a white blouse without painter's tape in her hair. "You look rested," I said. "I'm wearing concealer. Good concealer. Expensive. My phone repair cost less." Behind her, the condo was both familiar and wrong. Mom's couch sat beneath windows that looked out over a parking lot instead of the maple tree from the old house. The walnut hutch loomed beside the dining table, too large for the room. The ceramic bird Dad had moved out of my reach during the confrontation sat on top. Mom stood in the kitchen arranging takeout containers on serving plates. "We could have eaten from the containers," Paige said. Mom did not turn around. "We have plates. We also have boxes containing the plates. I found 4. There were 6 of us." "I'll use a container," Paige said. Mom glanced at me. "Hello, Elise." "Hi, Mom. I wasn't sure you'd come. You invited us. I invited you on your father's behalf. Then tell Dad thank you." Her mouth tightened. I set my purse down and removed the padded envelope. "I found this at the house." Mom opened it. When the pearl earring fell into her palm, her expression softened. "I thought I lost this years ago. It was on the windowsill in your bedroom. My mother gave me these." "I know." She touched her left ear, though she was not wearing the matching one. "Thank you," she said. "You're welcome." For a moment, that was all. Then Mom looked around the kitchen. "I can't find the coffee filters," Paige said. "Third box by the pantry. That one says linens." They were wrapped in dish towels. Who packs coffee filters in dish towels? The same person who packed a lamp with canned soup. That was your father. I walked to the box and stopped. Mom saw me stop. "I wasn't asking you," she said. "I know." Paige opened the box. The coffee filters were on top. Nobody commented. Dinner was orange chicken, rice, and egg rolls, served on 4 china plates and 2 pieces of paper towel. Dad gave 1 china plate to Colin because he considered the paper towels structurally unreliable. For 10 minutes, we discussed the condo. The shower pressure was good. The bedroom window whistled in high wind. The upstairs neighbor owned something that rolled across the floor at midnight. "A bowling ball," Dad said. "A desk chair," Mom replied. "It has momentum. It has wheels." Paige caught my eye. I smiled despite myself. Mom set down her fork. "I suppose this is our last dinner before you go. We have 3 weeks," I said. "You'll be busy. We can have dinner again. If it fits within the boundaries." "Mom, I'm trying to understand." "No, you're trying to make the word sound insulting." She folded her napkin. "You have rules for calling. Rules for asking for help. Rules for who can have a key. I don't know how to be natural around my own daughter. Natural for you involved volunteering my time. I said I understand that now. You have not said that." Her eyes moved toward Paige. Paige looked at her plate. Mom said, "I understand you felt taken for granted." I was taken for granted. Do you need me to use exactly your words? I need you not to turn what happened into a problem with my feelings. Dad chewed very slowly. Colin remained beside me, silent. Mom's voice sharpened. "Paige made a terrible decision. I gave her the phone because hers was broken. I did not tell her to read your messages. No. I did not know your account was still on it. No. So what exactly am I apologizing for? For giving away something that wasn't yours? For defending her before asking what she did? For worrying about your moving schedule while my husband was gone?" Mom looked at Colin. "I did worry about you." "You worried that I left too easily," he said. "That concerned me. It concerned me too. That doesn't make Paige's message a misunderstanding. I know that. Do you?" She looked down. The anger left her face. Without it, she looked smaller in the new dining room. "I didn't know things were that bad between you," she said. "They weren't bad all the time," I replied. "You never told me." "I couldn't tell you because every problem involving my marriage became evidence against Colin. That isn't fair. When I said he wanted one dinner without a phone call, you acted like he hated the family. He has never liked how close we are." Colin opened his mouth. I touched his knee under the table. "This is mine," I said. He nodded. I looked at Mom. "We weren't close in the way you mean. I was available." Her eyes filled. "You make everything we had sound ugly," she said. "It wasn't. That's why this is hard." The room went quiet. I remembered Mom sitting with me all night after my surgery, changing the ice pack every 20 minutes because she did not trust the hospital instructions. I remembered her making Colin a birthday cake shaped like a book after he mentioned once that he never had themed cakes. I remembered her calling to ask where Dad's remote was. Contradiction did not erase love. Love did not erase damage. "I still want you in my life," I said. "I just can't be the person who keeps it organized." Mom wiped beneath one eye. "I don't know what that looks like." "Neither do I." Dad reached for an egg roll. "We could try Sunday phone calls." Mom gave him a look. "We speak more than once a week." "You can," I said. "But if I don't answer, it doesn't mean something is wrong." What if something is wrong? Leave a message that says what it is. This feels very formal. So did the moving schedule. Paige laughed before converting it into a cough. Mom glared at her, then surprised me by laughing too. It lasted only a second, but it changed the air. After dinner, Paige showed me the guest room. 2 boxes remained against the wall, but the bed was made with Mom's yellow quilt. On the dresser, she had placed a framed photograph of Paige and me. "You could have stayed here," Mom said from the doorway. "I know. Instead of that rental above a dentist, it has a decorative ladder. So does the fire escape. It's indoors." Mom touched the doorframe. "If Denver doesn't work out, this room will be here. I have a home." "I know." She sounded as if she was practicing too. Our movers came the following week. They emptied our house while I checked labels, and Colin teased me for checking labels after claiming labels were not a personality. When the blue mug disappeared into a kitchen box, he made the mover write "open first" on all 4 sides. We spent our final 10 days in Ohio in the furnished apartment above the dentist. The green couch was narrower than advertised, the decorative ladder had splinters, and every morning at 8:30, a machine beneath us made a high whining sound. "Someone's having a root canal," Colin said over coffee. "That is not breakfast conversation. It's happening under our feet." Our second night there, I found him looking at his phone. The screenshot filled the screen. I sat beside him. "I keep reading it," he said. "It doesn't even sound like you anymore. It did then." "Yes." He pressed the screen and deleted it. "Are you sure?" I asked. "No." He emptied the deleted folder anyway. My phone started ringing on the counter. "Mom." I let it ring until voicemail picked up. A message followed. "The right door on the hutch won't close. Your father says it was always crooked. Do you remember?" Colin looked at me. "Do you?" "Yes. You have to lift it slightly. Are you going to call?" Before I answered, another message appeared. This one from Paige. I fixed the hutch. "Go back to whatever people do above a dentist." I showed Colin. He smiled. Then he put his arm around me and I rested my head on his shoulder while the phone stayed quiet. Quiet became something we had to learn how to use. For years, silence after one of Mom's calls meant I was deciding how quickly to respond. Silence after a fight with Colin meant I was waiting for him to soften first. In the apartment above the dentist, silence slowly became the sound of 2 people sitting on a narrow couch without needing to solve anything. It lasted until the drill started downstairs. Colin looked toward the floor. "That one's serious. Stop diagnosing strangers by appliance noise." "I'm concerned." "You're entertained. Those can coexist." Our last appointment with Nina before the move was the next afternoon. We sat closer on her couch than we had during the first session, not touching, but no diplomatic strip of upholstery between us. "Colin deleted the screenshot," I said. Nina looked at him. "What made you ready?" "I wasn't." I glanced over. He continued. "Keeping it felt like keeping evidence. Every time I looked at it, I could be angry at Paige, or angry at Elise for making it believable, or angry at myself for leaving. It was useful in every argument I hadn't started yet." Nina nodded. "How did deleting it feel?" "Like deleting a screenshot." I smiled. He practiced that answer. I don't like assigning profound meaning to phone storage. You took 2 passports as a subconscious cry for help. It was one folder. Nina's mouth twitched. She turned to me. "What feels unfinished? My mother still thinks boundaries are a punishment. Do you need her to understand them? I need her to follow them. Those are different. I'm noticing. And if she doesn't? I don't know." Colin said, "We leave. I don't want distance to be the answer to everything." "I meant we leave the conversation, not Ohio." "Oh." Nina looked at him. "Are you concerned Elise will resume the old patterns once you're away from the immediate crisis?" "Yes." The answer came faster than I wanted. He met my eyes. "I'm also concerned I'll start measuring every call. If she talks to her mother for 40 minutes, I don't want to sit there deciding whether that proves Denver failed." "That sounds exhausting," I said. "It already is. Do you trust me?" "Yes." You hesitated. I was trying to answer the whole question. Trust has subcategories now? It always did. Nina asked me what I believed Colin feared, that I'll get homesick and blame him. Colin nodded. "And what do you fear?" she asked. "That I'll get homesick and he'll think I regret choosing him." "Do you?" "No. I think I can miss them and still go." Saying it aloud loosened the tightness in my chest. Colin took my hand. Nina glanced at our joined fingers. "That sounds worth remembering." Mom scheduled our farewell breakfast for 9 the day before we left. She called it breakfast, although when we arrived at the condo, the table held scrambled eggs, sliced ham, muffins, 3 kinds of fruit, and a pan of potatoes large enough to serve a fire station. "Are more people coming?" Colin asked. Mom adjusted a fork. "I didn't know what you would want." "We're driving for 2 days, not crossing an ocean," I said. "I know." She did not sound convinced. Dad sat at the table reading the Volcano magazine. "You brought that from the old house just to read the same page?" I asked. "It has an article about plate tectonics. It's 28 years old. The plates are older." Paige came from the kitchen carrying orange juice and wearing her phone on a strap across her body. "What is that?" I asked. "Security. It looks like you're taking your phone for a walk. Nobody is giving it to anyone." Mom set down the serving spoon harder than necessary. Paige added, "That was a joke. It wasn't funny. It had structure." I sat across from Dad. The hutch door behind him was properly closed. Breakfast stayed polite for 11 minutes. Mom asked about our route. Colin explained that we would stop in Kansas City the first night. Dad said Kansas was flatter than people expected, which seemed impossible. Paige asked whether the furnished apartment in Denver had a decorative ladder. It did not. Then Mom brought the red folder to the table. I stopped chewing. "This is not a schedule," she said. "What is it?" "Your father's updated medical information." Dad glanced at the folder. I didn't know it was updated. "You have an appointment Friday." "I know about the appointment." Mom looked at me. "Paige has an important work meeting that morning." Paige put down her glass. "Mom." "What?" "We discussed this. You said you would try to move it. I said I'd take Dad after the meeting. The appointment is at 9. I rescheduled it for 11:30. Mom blinked. "When?" "Yesterday. You didn't tell me." "I did. You were unpacking towels. I would remember. You said, 'Fine, whatever works.'" "That does sound like you," Dad said. Mom ignored him. 11:30 is a terrible time. It will interfere with lunch." Dad said, I have eaten lunch at many times. You get lightheaded. I can bring a banana. Mom turned to me. If you left Friday afternoon instead of Thursday morning, you could take him at 9 as planned. I set down my fork. Colin continued eating. That was deliberate. He had learned that even looking at me could be mistaken for instruction. We're leaving tomorrow, I said. One day would not matter. It matters to us. Colin doesn't start until Monday. We have a long drive. You could arrive Sunday. I don't want to arrive the night before he starts work. I'm not asking you to stay a week. You're asking me to change our plans for an appointment that has already been handled. Mom looked at Paige. It has been moved, not handled. I'm taking him, Paige said. You have missed enough work because of this move. That is between me and my employer. You complain constantly about being behind. Privately. To my mother. I didn't realize I was entering evidence. Mom folded her napkin, then unfolded it. I thought we were trying to be a family again, she said. I felt the old hook catch. Changing plans isn't the price of being your family. I am asking for one favor before you move across the country. No, you're asking me to prove I still will. Her eyes narrowed. You think everything I do is manipulation now? No, I think this is. What happened to you? Paige said. Mom, stop! Mom looked around the table. I gave you an old phone because yours was broken. I made one careless decision, and suddenly everyone speaks to me like I orchestrated a divorce. You didn't orchestrate it, I said. Then why am I being punished? This is not about giving Paige the phone anymore. It's about what you did after you knew. I defended my daughter. You defended one daughter from the other. I was trying to keep the situation from destroying both of you. You asked me to forgive her so I could call the movers. Mom's face reddened. I was under pressure. So was I. I have apologized for the phone. No, you explained the phone. Fine. She pushed back from the table. I'm sorry I gave Paige something you left in my house. I'm sorry I didn't understand the technology. I'm sorry I failed to predict that your sister would make one impulsive mistake and your husband would pack a suitcase. Colin stopped eating. I held up a hand before he could speak. That isn't an apology, I said. Nothing I say is enough for you. You keep adding somebody else's fault to the end, because other people have fault. Yes. Colin has taken responsibility for leaving. Paige has taken responsibility for sending the message. You are the only person who thinks admitting your part will make you responsible for all of it. Mom stared at me. I continued before I lost my nerve. You did not end my marriage. You did treat my property like it belonged to the family. You did decide Paige's fear mattered more than what she did to me. And you did expect me to keep working for you while my husband's clothes were gone. Dad closed his magazine. Mom's mouth trembled. I didn't know how bad it was. You didn't ask. I asked if you were all right. You asked if I could confirm the elevator. Paige covered her eyes with one hand. That was not my best moment, Mom said. It was the closest she had come. No, I said. It wasn't. She looked at the red folder. I don't know how to do this without needing you. The sentence had no defense attached, no blame, just fear. You can need me, I said. You can't assign me. What is the difference? You ask, I answer. You believe the answer. And if the answer is no, you make another plan. Mom looked toward Paige. Paige lifted one shoulder. I already made another plan. Dad said 11:30. Banana. A reluctant sound escaped Mom, half laugh, half sob. I reached across the table but stopped before touching her. She looked at my hand, then she placed hers in it. Her fingers were cold. I'm not staying tomorrow, I said. I know. I'll call Sunday when we're settled. I know. Neither of us pretended that one conversation had rebuilt anything. After breakfast, Dad tried to give me the Volcano magazine for the drive. It's educational, he said. It's also larger than my overnight bag. You could learn about lava in Missouri. I can look out the window. Very little lava in Missouri. Colin accepted the magazine on my behalf and hid it under the passenger seat. Paige walked us to the elevator. "I really can take Dad," she said. "I know. I've put the medication list on my phone." "Good." And I made him write down his password. Dad called from inside the condo. "It's Volcano with a capital V." "Dad," Paige shouted. "That's not secure. He'll change it," I said. "He will not." The elevator arrived. Paige hugged Colin first. "I'm sorry," she said against his shoulder. "I know." When she hugged me, she held on. "Don't start answering every time Mom calls because you feel guilty," I whispered. "I won't. You will. Probably. You can say no, too." She pulled back. "I'm not sure I like the way it sounds in my voice. It gets easier. You're lying." "A little." The elevator doors began to close. Paige stuck her hand between them, making them jump open again. "I love you," she said. "I love you too." This time, she let the doors close. Colin and I spent our final night packing the car. Our luggage went in the trunk. The ceramic horse sat in a padded box behind my seat. I found the erased old phone at the bottom of a tote bag and held it for a long moment. "Keeping it?" Colin asked. "No." We drove it to an electronics recycling bin outside an office supply store. I dropped it through the slot. The phone hit the bottom with an ordinary plastic clatter. In the morning, we turned in the apartment key. The dentist's drills started as we carried down the last suitcase. "Someone's having a rough Thursday," Colin said. "Drive." He loaded the suitcase, then came around to my side of the car. "Ready?" "No, me neither." We got in anyway. At the entrance to the interstate, my phone rang through the car speakers. "Mom." Colin glanced at me, then back at the road. I reached toward the dashboard. I pressed the answer button. "Hi, Mom. Did you leave?" "We're getting on the interstate." "Oh." The sound carried disappointment, but not accusation. At least not yet. Colin merged behind a tractor trailer. He kept his eyes on the road. "Mom said, 'I found your blue scarf in the hall closet. I thought I packed it.'" "You didn't. Mail it when you have time. I was going to ask if you could come back." I closed my eyes. "But I won't," she added quickly. "I can mail a scarf." "Yes." "It would be ridiculous to turn around." "Yes, I know that." I waited. Mom breathed into the phone. In the background, a cabinet closed, followed by Dad asking where they kept the bananas now. On the counter, Mom called. "They were on the counter at the house. They're on the counter here, too." "Then why can't I see them?" "Because you're facing the refrigerator." Mom lowered her voice. "Your father has adjusted beautifully. I can tell." "Elise," I called, because I didn't say it correctly yesterday. My hand tightened around the edge of my seat. "I'm sorry I gave Paige your phone," she said. "It belonged to you, and I should have asked. I'm sorry that when I found out what she did, I worried about keeping the family together before I worried about what had happened to you." I looked at Colin. His hands remained steady on the wheel. Mom continued. "Paige was crying and you were angry. Crying has always made me think something needs to be fixed immediately. You being angry made me think you were handling it. I wasn't, I know. You asked me to forgive her so I could help with the move. I know. That was terrible. The clean admission hurt more than another excuse would have. I kept thinking if you would calm down, everything could go back," she said. "I didn't understand that going back was what you couldn't do. Traffic moved around us in a bright stream." "Thank you," I said. I did not tell her it was all right. She did not ask me to. "Drive safely," Mom said. "Call Sunday. Not before, unless you want to." "I will. And if you change your mind about the scarf, mail it." "Yes, of course." Dad's voice came through the phone. I found the bananas. "Goodbye, Mom. I love you. I love you too." I ended the call. Colin waited until we passed the next exit. "How was that?" he asked. She apologized. "Really? Without blaming anyone at the end? That's big." "It is. Do you feel better?" "A little." Aloud. "What?" "You're allowed to feel better." "I know." He glanced at me. "Practicing?" "Practicing." Ohio flattened around us, gray fields broken by bare trees and warehouse roofs. Our entire immediate life fit inside the car and a moving truck several hours ahead. The ceramic horse rode behind my seat. My passport was in my purse. The leather folder containing Colin's certificates was in the trunk, where folders belonged when they were only folders. At the state line, Colin reached under his seat and pulled out the Volcano magazine. "You took it. Your father put it there. You accepted responsibility." I panicked. You had to keep touching the magazine to panic. He handed it to me. The cover showed a river of red lava beneath a black sky. A mailing label with Dad's old address was still attached. "Do you think the information is current?" Colin asked. "The volcanoes may have relocated. We should verify before making decisions." I hit him lightly with the magazine. We stopped outside Indianapolis for gas and sandwiches. Mom did not call. Paige did. I watched her name ring once before answering. "Is Dad bleeding?" "No." "Is Mom bleeding?" "No." "Are you emotionally bleeding?" "Moderately. But that's not why I called." I leaned against the car while Colin filled the tank. "How did the appointment go?" "It's tomorrow." "Right. I called to tell you Mom apologized to me." That surprised me. "For what?" "She said she should have expected more from me years ago instead of acting like expectations were punishment." "What did you say?" I asked if she was dying. "Reasonable." She didn't think so. The wind blew Paige's voice in and out. "She also said I handled the move well," she continued. "Dad said I only lost one socket, which is apparently excellent." "It is. I know you're still angry." "I am. I know apologizing doesn't erase anything." "No. I just wanted to say this from my own phone." My throat tightened. Paige took a breath. "I'm sorry I read your messages. I'm sorry I used your words. I'm sorry I made Colin think you had stopped loving him because I was afraid you would stop taking care of me. I won't ask you to tell me it's okay." For once, she stopped at the right place. "Thank you," I said. "I love you. I love you too. What happens now? We try to be sisters. I thought we were sisters. We were also a system." She made a small sound. "That sounds like Nina." "How do you know Nina?" "Mom told me you were seeing a counselor named Nina." "Of course she did. What does trying to be sisters mean?" "You call because you miss me. Not only because somebody needs something. What if I miss you and something is broken? Lead with missing me." "Okay. And you handle Dad's appointment tomorrow. I already bought the banana. Then you're ready." By the time we reached Kansas City, the sky had gone dark, and both of us were tired enough to be offended by road signs. Our hotel room faced an air conditioning unit on a neighboring roof. "I thought Missouri would be more scenic," I said. "We're overlooking valuable infrastructure." Colin dropped onto the bed. I sat beside him and took off my shoes. "Are we doing the right thing?" He looked at me. "Right now, Denver." "I think so." That wasn't confident. I'm trying not to issue guarantees. I hate growth. It's exhausting. I lay back. Colin stretched beside me, fully dressed. "What if I hate it?" I asked. "Then you hate it. What if you love it? Then we have an interesting conversation. What if you love the job and I'm miserable? We figure it out. What if figuring it out means leaving? Then we talk before anyone packs." I turned my head toward him. "What if I wake up tomorrow and want to go home?" He reached between us and took my hand. "We can miss a place without turning the car around." The next morning, Dad's appointment ended while we were crossing Kansas. Paige sent a photograph of him sitting in the passenger seat, holding the blue folder and an uneaten banana. Appointment successful, banana unused. Dad texted separately. "Doctor says walk. Your sister parked very far away." I replied, "She's helping." He sent a thumbs up, then immediately added, "This one means good." Our Denver rental had beige walls, a narrow balcony, and a view of the mountains if I leaned past the railing and looked around the corner of the next building. Colin stood behind me while I performed the maneuver. "Worth it?" he asked. "I can see 6 inches of mountain and someone's satellite dish. Majestic." The moving truck arrived the following morning. For hours, strangers carried our old life into unfamiliar rooms. The blue mug emerged from the first kitchen box intact. Colin washed it and set it upright on the counter. "No towel?" I asked. "We haven't unpacked them." Reckless. The ceramic horse went on a shelf in the living room. It looked even more alarmed in Colorado. We ordered pizza and ate on the floor because the movers had assembled the dining table backward. My phone rang halfway through the second slice. "Mom." I looked at Colin. He looked at the pizza. "You can have an expression," I said. "I'm trying not to measure. I want to answer." "Then answer." Mom called because Dad could not connect their television to the new Wi-Fi. I talked him through opening the settings. It took 11 minutes because he kept entering his email address where the password belonged. When I hung up, Colin was folding the pizza box closed. "What?" I asked. "Nothing. That was a judgmental fold. It was a fold. You're upset." He sat back. "A little." I chose to answer. "I know. You said I could. You don't need permission. Then why are you upset? Because we were having our first dinner here. It was pizza on the floor. That still counts." There it was again. A small thing with a reason attached. I waited for my explanation to form, then stopped it. "I wanted to talk to them," I said. "I also wish Mom had waited." Colin nodded. "And I wish you had told me you wanted this dinner uninterrupted instead of pretending the pizza box had offended you. That's fair. Do you think answering means nothing changed?" "No." You hesitated. I was answering the whole question. "Right. Subcategories." He smiled. "I don't want to turn every call into a referendum," he said. "That's my part. And I don't want to call every interruption small. That's yours." I moved closer and took another slice from the box. He opened it again. The next time Mom called during dinner, I let it go to voicemail. Her message said, "Not urgent. Your father wants to know if you took the large roasting pan." I called her Sunday. 2 weeks after we arrived, Colin came home 45 minutes late without calling. I had already imagined a car accident, a job crisis, and a quiet decision to move into a hotel. When he walked in carrying groceries, I said, "Where were you?" "The store." "You didn't answer your phone." "My battery died." I stared at the grocery bags. "You bought 12 kinds of coffee. It was on sale. You could have called from the store. I didn't know you'd be worried." "I didn't know either." He set the bags down. "Did you think I left?" "For about 3 minutes." "Because of the coffee?" "Because your side of the closet has less in it now. We haven't unpacked." "I know." He came closer. "I'm sorry. I almost drove to your office." "Why didn't you?" "Because I called you first. My phone was dead." "Yes." It was unsatisfying. He put his arms around me. "Next time I'll call. Next time buy 1 coffee. Let's not make impossible promises." We continued seeing Nina by video. Some sessions were painful. Others were so ordinary I worried we were wasting money. Nina said ordinary was where marriages lived, which sounded like something printed on a decorative sign. Mom sometimes followed the Sunday call rule and sometimes called Tuesday because she had forgotten it was Tuesday. I answered when I wanted to. When I didn't, she began leaving specific messages. Paige took Dad to another appointment. She missed an exit, argued with the parking attendant, and got him there 12 minutes early. Mom complained that Paige had not brought the blue folder. Paige reminded her that the medication list was on her phone. Nobody called me. Dad started walking around the condo building every morning. He sent me photographs of things he found in the parking lot. A red glove, a broken umbrella, a shopping cart with 1 wheel missing. Mom mailed my blue scarf. Inside the box, she included the yellow legal pad I had left on their dining room counter during the move. My Denver list remained folded inside. Under reasons to go, I found a new line in Mom's handwriting. "Because you want to." I sat on our balcony with the pad in my lap and 6 inches of mountain visible beyond the neighboring building. For years, I had waited for permission and resented everyone for making me wait. My phone rested beside me. New case, new password, no other device signed into it. Colin was at work. We had argued that morning because he wanted to invite coworkers over Friday, and I had accused him of using our 14-serving bowls as emotional leverage. The argument ended with both of us laughing, but the bowls were still under discussion. I opened our message thread. Photos, grocery reminders, a complaint about the parking garage, an ongoing debate about whether the ceramic horse looked frightened or judgmental. My thumbs hovered over the screen. Then I typed, "I'm not leaving you. I'm leaving the life where everyone else got to decide what I owed." I read it twice. This time, nobody had borrowed my words. Nobody had chosen my meaning. Nobody had reached into my marriage and spoken in my place. I pressed send. Colin's reply came a minute later. "I know, and I'm not asking you to prove it." A second message appeared. "Do we need anything from the store?" I looked through the balcony door at the kitchen. "Coffee filters," I wrote. His answer came back. "I can handle that." I smiled and set down the phone.